4th down and 6. Olbridge gotta have it. Shotgun formation. Nugent, a lot of time. Rolls out. He's running out of space. Will roll the other way. They look, corner of the end zone. Touchdown!
Rowan heading for the touchpad with the lead. And the Profs will take the men's 400-yard freestyle relay.
Andrews will be in shotgun. He takes the snap, fakes the handoff. He'll throw it down the left sideline. He's got a wide open receiver. He's got the touchdown.
Motion man is Simmons. Trotman throwing towards Simmons down the field, and he makes the catch in traffic for a Bearcats touchdown.
Back to pass, middle of the field. The catch is made by Britt. She's off to the races at the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. Britt is in for the score.
Back on in, here's Yoxie. Yoxie to the backhand, trying to go to the front, makes the move and shot, and he scores!
Gracie comes set and delivers. And that's it on the ground to second. Throw to first, in time, and the ball game is over. South Shore survives a late scare, and they are the 2024 New York State Little League Baseball champions. Live from Rokit Stadium in Seinajoki, Finland, PDF Sports Network is proud to welcome you into coverage of the Vaahteraliiga, the top professional football league in the country of Finland, now broadcasting in the English language exclusively on the PDF Sports Network YouTube channel. In our PDF Game of the Week, the East City Giants visit the Seinajoki Crocodiles in a Week 2 matchup. Good morning to our audience here in the United States, and welcome to everyone watching worldwide. I'm Joe Foreman alongside David Pizzuto, bringing you this week's action. And Dave, our Week 2 coverage in this Maple League season features a pair of 1-0 teams in the Crocodiles and the Giants. Seinajoki is coming off an appearance in the Maple Bowl last year, and the Giants are looking to match their win total from last season with a victory here on the road in Week 2.
Joe, how exciting is this? The two teams that were marked underdogs in Week 1 scored themselves a victory last week, and now one of them is going to be all alone in first place in the Maple League after today with a 2-0 record. Barring a tie, of course, and based on how well these two teams showed out last week, who knows? Maybe that's on the table. Either way, we should have a good one here this morning, and I know we're both excited to see the 2026 versions of these two teams.
No question about that, and we mentioned already that these two teams enter Week 2 1-0, and they were joined by the Butchers as winners in Week 1. I think it's fair to say that one of the surprise results of Week 1 saw Kahari Lane leading the Giants to a win over his former team in the Kuopio Steelers. What other matchups are on the schedule this week, and could we be looking at any more surprises?
Well, Joe, we love these early season contests because it's like opening gifts up during the holidays, unwrapping these new versions of teams and seeing how they compare and contrast. And this week, we'll get introduced to the Wausau Royals, who had the opening week bye. They take on the Roosters team that does not want to fall to 0-2 on the season. That game should actually be coming to an end, just about went final. We'll have to see. We'll get an update on that one soon, I'm sure. And the Royals, they sure do give the Roosters problems. And with the Butchers being idle, that leaves the pair of winless teams, the Saints, who we saw last week, traveling to the Steelers, who are big favorites there. But hey, Joe, they were favored last week too against this Giants team and fell. So that game will be huge as well in Kuopio. Those teams play pretty much as this one is coming to an end here on PDF. So when this one is over, be sure to follow the live action on the Ruutu network in Finland.
I'm sure we'll have some updates from those two games, or at least that first one that you mentioned coming to an end shortly, or perhaps finished already around halftime. We'll get a look at the score of that first game. But we've already touched on the change at quarterback this season for the Giants, but this is a team that also made a big change last season as they earned their way back into the Maple League following a Division I championship in 2024. What more can you tell us about this Giants squad, and what were some of your takeaways from watching the Giants during the 2025 season?
Well, we didn't get a chance to see them a whole lot last year, and I think it went about as well as we thought. It was their first Maple League season in practically a quarter century, and so we expected them to have to crawl before they can walk, and that's exactly what they did, Joe. They crawled and they stumbled a lot, But they avoided relegation, and they've earned the right to come back here. And as you could see, they're bolstering their lineup. You mentioned Kahari Lane. They scored 35 points in their opener against a very strong Steelers team predicted to finish second in the Maple League by the coaches. They got a win to show for it. So there's no reason to think they can't be competitive here again on the road. And if they can, and they sneak out a win, all of a sudden, they are going to be the talk of the Maple League. Imagine playing the number 2 and the number 3 seeded teams coming in from last year, back-to-back weeks to open the season and coming out to a 2-0 record. That's going to be impressive. They have had success in the Maple League before. You see it on the screen. They did go dark for a few years, didn't field a franchise for some time. But after winning a title in the first division 2 years ago, it's time for them to start making a push towards the top half of the standings in 2026.
And finally, let's circle back to the Seinajoki team that reached the Maple Bowl last year. A change at quarterback for them as well, but as you touched on during our coverage last week, they do return some of the pieces up front on defense that helped them reach yet another championship game in 2025. You and I were also in agreement last season that this Crocodiles team was the one team in the league outside of undefeated Porvoo that didn't have any head-scratching losses. And when you take care of business against teams that you are expected to beat, and are consistent on both sides of the ball, that's how you become such a frequent participant in the Maple Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we're not allowed to play favorites, Joe, but I really enjoyed watching this team play last year, and they had the highest turnover roster-wise. Have some big players that are not on the roster this season. Quarterback Brandon Kiles, running back Deonta Sip, wide receiver Verneri Rainio, and one of their bookend defensive ends, Riley Coleman, who I thought was back this year. He's not returning to Seinajoki, but they got some guys who stepped up late in the year last year after some injuries, and given their pedigree that you see on screen, this team doesn't believe in rebuilding, only reloading. And I have a sneaky feeling, Joe, that this team is going to be a factor down the stretch this season.
And we'll get our first look at the Crocodiles and the Giants coming up next here on PDF. So as we close in on kickoff, we will step aside and take a quick break. When we come back, it's keys to the game ahead of this Week 2 matchup between the Crocodiles and Giants. Our Maple League Game of the Week is coming up next, right back here on the PDF Sports Network.
The PDF Sports Network is officially seeking sponsors for the 2026 Vaahteraliiga season. The Vaahteraliiga is the top professional American football league in Finland, and now, for the first time, is available in the English language and in the U.S., courtesy of PDF. Join us as we make history by showcasing the Maple League to a new worldwide audience. Our partnership with the Vaahteraliiga was recently featured in International Business Journal as a groundbreaking venture that in 2025 earned us a Global Recognition Award and a GHP Magazine Award for Best Local Live Broadcasting in the nation. It's time to bring our coverage to the next level and showcase your products and business to local and international audiences. Show your support now by calling us at 732-723-8189 or by emailing pdfsportsnet@gmail.com.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here, along with Joe Calp, wanted to do a podcast. Everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen?
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials. Check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Refined, restorative, results-driven. At CMX iMed Bar, we blend medicine, aesthetics, and wellness into one luxury experience, led by Dr. Angela Roque. Located in the heart of Pier Village, Long Branch. Visit cmximedbar.com or text 9089-232-694 to look better, feel better, live elevated.
And we are back from Vaahteraliiga Stadium in Seinajoki, Finland, as we get set for this Week 2 matchup between the East City Giants and the Seinajoki Crocodiles. My name is Joe Foreman, alongside David Pizzuto. And Dave, as we close in on kickoff, what are your keys to the game for these two teams? Let's start with the visiting Giants.
Yeah, the Giants, they put a wrench into the Maple League last week with 35-point effort against the Kuopio Steelers. And I think for them to really make an impact, they're going to have to score early in this game. I think that they're really going to have to take control at the line of scrimmage. They're going to need to move some people. And I think our starting quarterback, Kahari Lane. I mean, all eyes are going to be on him as the new kid on the block on this team, a true veteran, one of the better quarterbacks in the league last year. He is the quarterback to watch in this game. So, his performance is going to be key. This offense being able to move the ball, playing a little bit of keep away from the Crocodiles will also be key. Seinajoki plays very well here at home, Joe. That's something that we know about this team. And so you got to take the crowd out of the game. You got to keep their offense off the field, and you got to stay efficient, move the sticks. Don't be afraid to go on these long 6, 7, 8-minute drives. That's how you win games like this.
Yeah, Seinajoki is a team that, as we saw last season, can put pressure on the opposing quarterback. And looking at this Giants team coming in, I think a big part of this game for them and coming away with a win is going to be protecting Kahari Lane. We've seen it plenty, Dave. When he's given time to throw, he has a big arm. He can push the ball downfield. Also has some good mobility. He can move in the pocket and create plays with his legs as well. If he's given time in the pocket, given the opportunity to break contain, it could be a big day offensively for the Giants.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're hoping for because, his dynamism on the field and to make multiple things happen, that's the mark to a quality team and to a quality offense. And your whole complexion on offense changes when your quarterback can literally be a quarterback and be versatile and do the things with the legs, throw the ball down the field. He has an amazing arm. He can get the ball out there, 50 and 60 yards down the field. That's going to be key for the Giants offensively. And defensively, they're going to have to slow down this Crocodiles team that scored 24 against the Roosters last week and, on the road getting a great win. That was key for them as well.
Of course, this is not the first game of the season for the Crocodiles, as you mentioned last week, picking up a win over the Roosters. But for us, Dave, it is going to be our first look this season at this Seinajoki team. And something that stood out to you and I so much last year about this team offensively is their use of the option. It was such a big part of this offense, and of course, in the biggest of situations, looking to put points on the board as regulation expired against the Kuopio Steelers on the road in the playoffs. They went back to that option. I'm curious to see if those kinds of looks are a staple of their offense moving forward with Christopher Fowler now at quarterback.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think out of all the teams, maybe you could say maybe the Butchers were the other team. Seinajoki was the most eclectic team on offense. They ran the ball well. They had a good periphery passing game. They had a good downfield passing game. They ran the option, like you said, probably better than any other team. But there's new people in those positions, Joe. So you wonder how effective Fowler can be. Their running back by committee, R2 Blomqvist, will do a healthy majority of the running, number 32. So keep your eye on him. But Deonta Sip is Deonta Sip. He's going to be really hard to replace. Remember that game-tying touchdown that they scored at regulation, or the 2-point conversion? I forget which one it was, Joe. But these are dynamic players on offense that they lost. So the key for Seinajoki is, hey, can you pick up where you left off last year seamlessly? You scored a win against the Roosters, a team that maybe you weren't supposed to beat. Now this is a team you're supposed to beat. Can they be consistent? Just like you mentioned during pregame, can they start with that consistency?
And we said it during the pregame, but for those who just joined us, I think it's a point worth making once more. This team did not have any of those baffling losses last year, and that matters a lot. And that's how you end up in 4 straight Maple Bowls. As the opening kickoff is received just inside of the 10-yard line, brought back up across the 30 and 35-yard line before Mauricio Porcha is brought down.
Yeah, and something we didn't mention during the open or in these keys to the game, Joe, will be special teams. And I think that every game that we have called this season, special teams this season and in past seasons, special teams, they're special for a reason. And, Sebastian Sparks, who got rid of that ball, is a place kicker. Crocodiles did kick a lot of field goals last year. They, too, have a dedicated place kicker. So the kicking game should be a really important factor in this game as well.
It certainly was when this Crocodiles team found themselves in overtime last year during the playoffs with a trip to the Maple Bowl on the line against the Steelers. It was a field goal that ended that game after the defense came up with a big stop. Fowler in the shotgun on first down will hand off up the middle, and R2 Blomqvist driven backwards. He may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage or picked up a yard.
Yeah, but not much, and he was met right at the line of scrimmage, Joe, and that's going to be a key to this game. What happens up front? Those big guys in the middle, and they too are a group that we don't usually touch on a lot in the open. We tend to look at the talent positions, but the ability to move the line of scrimmage, that's going to be important for both of these teams.
Making in one of the captains on that offensive line as the left-handed Fowler completes across the 40 for a short gain. And that looks like it's going to bring up about a 3rd and 7, maybe a 3rd and 6.
Yeah, and Joe, these are underrated plays, but they take a lot of timing and they take a lot of rhythm on the offensive line to make, and they're able to make that play. We'll get you back to live action in just a moment, but you see the nice timing here on this throw by Fowler out in the flat.
Trips to the right on 3rd down, and it looks like the Giants may have jumped off sides. We'll see if they were drawn off. The officials are going to talk about it, and it's going to be a false start on the Crocodiles.
Yeah, they were indeed thrown offside, and that's a big one because it takes a 3rd and 6 now into a 3rd and 11, and make that a 3rd and 12 here. So changes the dynamics of this play, that's for sure. And Fowler is going to need some time in the pocket to survey down the field. He'll have 4 wide receivers to choose from. And Blomqvist remains in the backfield with him.
Once again, trips to the right of the formation on 3rd and 12.
Ooh.
Fowler working out of the gun, and once again, some early movement as Fowler is flushed out left. No flags on the field, and Fowler throws it at the feet of Blomqvist, who didn't have much room to work along that far sideline, and it will be 4th down.
Well, that's a surprise because it looked like there was definitely a flinch here. We're going to slow it down, and you can be the judge at home, but it looked like linebacker comes in, and, yeah, that's a step. And I don't know, maybe he was just not over the ball, and very interesting there. But on 4th and 12, Crocodiles will go 3 and out.
It was Leonardo Lundberg applying the pressure from behind on Fowler, immediately flushed him out to the left. And now the Crocodiles will punt as that one is off the side of the punter's foot.
It's going to end up being about a 20-yard punt, Joe.
Yeah, I made a mistake. It was Panu Moilanen who applied the pressure. I was looking at the wrong side of my roster sheet, so I apologize for that. But on the punt, it was Atu Twoko who had it hit off the side of his foot. And that one nets them maybe 7 or 8 yards.
Yeah, I think it's a little more than that because the line of scrimmage was
They
back
kicked
to
it from the
28.
38?
No, 28.
28?
Yeah, because they went backwards with the penalty. Giants get right on the field, ready to run and play.
And it's a handoff up the middle. And the Crocodiles will stand up the ball carrier, Sebastian Legora, after a very short gain on 1st down.
Yeah, we mentioned new faces on the Crocodiles team, but the Giants, too, have a lot of new faces on that offense. And it's a product, their first season in the Maple League in 25 years last year. And now they're looking to, piece the roster together a little bit more, get guys who are a little bit more seasoned in the Maple League, and it begins right there in the backfield.
Trips to the right out of the gun for Kahari Lane and the Giants. Following the 1st down run by Legora, he picked up 2. It's a throw on 2nd down. Lane has time, a clean pocket, and a completion. And we'll see if they give forward progress across the sticks. They will not on the reception by Aksari Swaniemi.
Yeah, so his decision to actually not fall down after that cost them the 1st down because he made this catch in 1st down territory, then kind of doubled back and lost a couple, but we can see it on the replay here. That's a nice toss right there. And, yeah, he makes that catch at the 35 and then gets driven back. So I had it as a 1st down. Instead, it'll be a 3rd down and about 2 here.
You would suspect this is 4 down territory with trips lined up to the left once again. Lane in the gun. And a bit of a low snap, and Lane will keep it. He lunges forward. I don't think he got it.
I don't think so either. He's just short, and the Crocodiles were not fooled. And, if not for the size of Kahari Lane, he might go backwards on that play. Instead, he was able to salvage, maybe get a yard, and it's going to be a 4th down and a long one here coming up.
Well, we talked about the capability of this Crocodiles defensive front to make big plays when this team needs them. They'll be looking for that unit to step up here on 4th down.
Artu Topola made a really good tackle on that play for the Crocodiles.
Low snap also hindered that play a bit from the start. The Giants are showing a shotgun look. 4 receivers on the field. Lane keeps, Lane takes off, and Lane picks up the first down on the quarterback draw.
Yeah, and we said it, in the open or right when the coin toss was happening, the dynamism that Kahari Lane gives you. He's able to take this snap from the shotgun, give a quick look. It's probably a designed run all the way, really. He only lifted his eyes for just a moment, tucks it down, makes the decision, I'm taking off with this, and his ability to just fall forward is going to get you the first down in a situation like that. First down of the game, and the Giants are inside the Crocodiles 35.
Getting a second look at that play, I think he does have the option to throw that short stick route. If it's open, he didn't need that throw, as there was plenty of running room up the middle. Pre-snap motion, and the throw goes to the motion man in the flat. That's Austin Brock. He lunges forward toward the 30 where he's taken down.
Yeah, good solid pickup of about 3 or 4 on the play. A nice tackle, nice block down the field as well by the wide-out of slot receiver in that range, and gets them positive yardage. Keep working in front. 2nd and 6 coming up.
That was Yana Kopamaki throwing that block that you mentioned, Dave. That helped that play get off the ground. It went for a gain of 4, and that will bring up 2nd and 6. Once again, Lane in the gun. The Giants have worked exclusively out of shotgun early in this game, and Lane will look to throw. He fires left, complete. Broken tackle there by Kopamaki, and he is forced out of bounds inside the red zone.
Yeah, and how many times did we see this last year, Joe, where you just, pitch it out to your wideout, let him do the rest. And if he can make that first guy miss, you're going to be in business. And that's exactly what Kopamaki did on that play. It's a nice toss. It ends up right in his breadbasket, and then you just make that first guy miss, and it results in 10 extra yards, and the Giants are in business inside the Crocodiles' red zone.
Lane has been able to work out of a clean pocket for most of this drive. We know he has the big arm, but don't underestimate the accuracy on a throw like that and how important it is to helping the receiver break the first tackle as Lane is flushed out to his left and takes off. He's inside the 10, inside the 5, and is brought down just shy of the end zone.
Yeah, and again, another misdirection at the line of scrimmage. You think he's possibly going to hand off on this play. Instead, he gets the overcommitting defensive end on the left side of that line. Drawn in, that's Akano, and he has a lot of green in front of him, and then you see a little bit more of the dynamism with the legs for Kahari Lane.
What an impressive opening drive this has been for the East City Giants. Very little resistance to this point outside of that 4th down, and it was a 4th and as short as it gets. Lane picked it up easily. It's now 1st and goal from the 1-yard line.
Yeah, they're keeping him off balance. That's been the key here on this drive.
Lane in the gun once again, flanked by Lagora in the backfield. Lane will hand off to Lagora, and he is in for the Giants' touchdown.
Yeah, that was pretty easy. They made it look pretty easy. That was a nice wide lane as well for Lagora to cut into there. And again, you have to respect Kahari Lane and the possible play fake on a play like this. And so instead, you give it to Lagora. He's got a wide open lane to get through. A couple of arm tackles can't bring him down. And there you go. First 6 points of the game. Great start for the Giants on their opening possession.
Can't ask for much more on both sides of the ball. 3 and out, forced by your defense. Your offense takes over and marches straight downfield following the short punt. And it was another low snap, but that does not affect the PAT. The Crocodiles did have a chance to get in there and block it, but a nice job to recover and put that one through.
Yeah, it took the officials a little time to really spot that up. That kick was like sky high, and so they were checking to make sure it cleared the top of the bar there. But, yeah, you mentioned the snap. We're getting another look at it, but it's a good job to kind of get this ball placed. And got to give credit.
Sparks holding there.
Yeah, I was going to say, got to give credit to the holder on that play, Sparks.
It was Sparks holding, and it was a very poor snap. He was able to situate that football and give the kicker a chance there because it did not look like he was going to have one, but Noah Niemanen puts it through and makes it a 7-point game. It's almost hard to believe that wasn't blocked by Hakila. He came in virtually untouched with a clear lane to the football.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a great first drive by the Giants. Again, it starts on a short field. Remember that bad punt got them really sprung, but it was a bad punt that came off of a 3-and-out as well. So credit to the Giants defense for holding, and they come around and score 7 of their own.
Once again, the kickoff lands just inside the 10. Porsche on the run back, out across the 30, 35, stumbling through traffic across the 40, and brought down at the 44-yard line.
Yeah, nice return, especially on a ball that was allowed to, hit the turf to start. So it's a great job by Porsche to catch up to that and find some holes in the middle of the field. And again, special teams playing a big factor. Yeah, he fields that at the 8-yard line and turns that into a 36-yard return. Nice job.
And it looks like there is a hobbled Crocodile making his way off the field. Now, I don't have a number 88 on my roster, but I do believe that was the number of the injured player.
Yeah, I don't either. And it's not on their roster online.
Good starting field position for the Crocodiles for a second straight drive. Their last possession began just shy of the 40. This one just shy of the 45 as Fowler fakes the screen and throws deep. Man open, but Fowler was a bit too strong on that pass for Justice Virtanen.
Yeah, we saw, Virtanen be a really dynamic playmaker for this team, especially late in the season last year. He's one of those guys that I referenced, stepping up in a bigger role. And, Fowler got the Giants to bite on that fake a little bit, with that kind of shoulder pump. And, yeah, if that pass is on its mark, that could be 6 points for Seinajoki. Tough window to find, but it was there.
No question. Trips to the left. Fowler looking to throw once again. Completes across midfield. And a nice move after the catch to pick up a first down. That was Porsche spinning off of contact across the 45. And that's the first down of the game for Seinajoki.
Yeah, and another nice little timing route as well. You got Porsche coming in as the middle receiver on that left side. He just runs a simple slant over the middle. But, again, that pass has to be right, in his break, and it was.
Receiver stacked wide on both sides of the formation as they hand it off. And Blomqvist picks up a yard, maybe 2 on the play.
Yeah, so Seinajoki, we know them. They like to throw the football, but they need their running game. They need their running game to, soften up the Giants up front, keep them guessing, get those linebackers moving in a little bit more, try to draw them in close, and then you can take the top off. But you need that running game.
Trips to the left out of the gun. Low snap scooped up by Fowler. He completes to Blomqvist, and Blomqvist tiptoes the sideline out to the 35-yard line.
Yeah, we're going to have to see where the spot is here to see if he got enough for the first down. But another nice play working on the periphery of the line of scrimmage. It is going to be a 3rd and 1 coming up.
Crocodiles also working with some tempo here. And they've done a good job utilizing all of their playmakers, Porsche, Blomqvist, and, of course, Virtanen already getting involved as they'll hand off up the middle once again. And that is good for a first down run by Blomqvist.
Yeah, that was the first time that Blomqvist had a nice little hole to expand through that time and didn't have to, wasn't hit exactly at the line of scrimmage, and that allows him to get the easy first down on that play. And now the Crocodiles are responding with a little bit of a counter punch here, and they're starting to work their way inside of field goal territory as well.
And we saw last year when this offense builds momentum, they can steamroll defenses. Yeah. And didn't stand out immediately as the best offense in the league last year. That distinction, of course, belonging to the Butchers. But they were right up there as that one is through the hands of the intended target.
Virtanen
trying to make out if that was an 8 or a 9. The glistening number in the sunlight made it tough, but that is Virtanen.
Yeah, and that's one he needs to have because that's a dangerous ball. That goes right through your hands, and it's tipped up in the air, and you never know if a defensive back is hanging out back there. That could be easy pickings, but we'll get another quick look at this before we bring you back to live action, but that's one that Virtanen would like to have.
And if you remember, I believe it was Virtanen who had that one-handed grab in
Gorgeous.
The playoff game against Kuopio.
Yeah, corner of the end zone.
Fowler throwing up the seam, complete, and a touchdown for the Crocodiles. A breakdown in the secondary for the Giants, and Seinajoki is on the board for the first time. Fowler to Porsche for 6.
Yeah, we're going to slow it down and take a look because we're going to see they're bunched up at the top of your screen, kind of like a diamond formation up there, and Fowler just kind of splits the difference. The defensive backs go, east and west, and Porsche goes north and south. He was wide open on that play, and Fowler put it right on him, 7-6.
PAT upcoming, and you said it, Dave, quite the counterpunch by Seinajoki as that low line drive barely cleared the crossbar. It is good. And Seinajoki has evened up the score at 7. How about this start for these two unbeaten teams and these two offenses? Both teams putting together a scoring drive early. The Giants take advantage of a short field. The Crocodiles get good starting field position, and they take advantage to get even.
Yeah, it all starts with that great kickoff return. But, again, the Crocodiles are a team, and I think we mentioned this, in the open, is that they do play with moxie, and they tend not to blink, too, Joe, when they get down. I think in some of the games that they've won last season against the Roosters, that second game that they beat them, the playoff game against the Steelers, they had to come from behind in those games. They had to pick themselves off the mat, 1 and 2 times. And that's a perfect example right there. Still in the first quarter, you have a team that goes down on their first defensive, series of the season, 7-0. You come back, you storm right back, and like a hot knife through butter, you score 7 of your own, and we got a 0-0 game again.
Seinajoki will kick off, all knotted up at 7. And this one will land just inside the 20, played on one hop and taken across the 30, 35, 40, and finally brought down on that return was Nolan Burnett. A good run back by the Giants DB, and East City will take over outside of their own 40-yard line.
Yeah, and I think the Crocodiles might have gotten away with a face mask at the end of this play, too. We're going to see it a little bit slowed down. You'll see it right at the very end. Burnett is one of the returners for this Giants team who really was a big factor on the team last year and does a nice job of following his cavalry and getting past the 40. You'll see a little tug right there of the face mask. Could have been 15 extra yards in Crocodiles territory, but they do get the good start.
Yeah, it looked like Christian Reinica may have gotten a thumb in the face mask as Lane handles another low snap and swings it into the flat, but Seinajoki all over that play. Nowhere for Brock to go as the Giants lose 2 on first down.
Yeah, and you could tell the timing was just disrupted because of the snap. It was so low. It took Kahari Lane a few moments to kind of gather it, pull it up to his midsection, and then fire it away. And by that time, the Crocodiles had kind of sniffed out the play. You could see the defensive backs cheating up, knowing where that ball was going, and it results in a 2-yard loss.
Yeah, snap like that, I think it's fair to characterize as near disaster. That ball barely getting off the turf, and fortunately for the Giants, Lane was able to pin it down to the turf and scoop it up. 2nd and 12 now from just outside the 40. Lane in trouble, and Lane goes down. 3 Crocodiles converge on the quarterback, led by Charles Acano.
And look at the jump, Joe, that Charles Acano gets on this play. We're going to slow this one down so we can appreciate it, but it's almost like he knew the snap count. And the jump that he gets, he just blows by the left tackle rather easily. That's an easy one for Acano. It's one that he's going to make time and again. If you're the Giants, you're thinking, man, he was offside on that play. It was timed so well. But instead, a loss of about another 4 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 16.
When you have a premier edge rusher, in this case a linebacker who was rushing off the edge, that makes such a big difference for you defensively. Lane looking to throw on 3rd and long. Downfield complete. Swoniemi has it and is finally brought down at the 20.
Wow, what a play, what timing, and able to get past the defense and make a tremendous play right in the middle of the field, right in between 2 defensive backs. That is a well-timed play, and just like that, you're on the eve of the red zone. But nice throw. We mentioned Lane's ability to get the ball down the field. That is right on target, right where it needs to be.
We saw Fowler hit a man up the seam. Lane answers back with a huge 3rd down conversion of his own up the seam. And on first down, that carry goes nowhere. Lagora stood up behind the line.
Man, this sure does look like a different Giants team, doesn't it, Joe? I mean, this is not the kind of offense that we expected coming into 26 based on the 25 version of the team, but they are truly dynamic, and their ability to push the ball up the field via the passing game, it's definitely been a warranted change for this team.
And I think you learn a lot about an offense based on what they do when they're behind the sticks. How aggressive are they? How willing are they to throw downfield in those situations where the defense knows you probably have to pass? And we saw just how willing they were on that play, taking a shot deep up the seam. Lane looking to throw once again in trouble, steps forward, throws toward the end zone, and was nearly picked off by Artu Heikila.
Yeah, that one just thrown underneath. That time Kahari Lane is on the run as he's throwing. It's the first time we've really seen him uncomfortable in the pocket while still being able to get the pass off. And you could see as we have a flag down, and we'll get the call on this, a holding against the Giants while we watch the replay. But that's the least of the Giants' problems after that play, because that very well could have been intercepted.
Ronnie Lindros, the intended target there, but that's one of those risks, Dave, that I think goes in the unnecessary risk category. It's a double-teamed receiver, not much room there along the goal line. You can maybe put that toward the back corner of the end zone, but even then, I think the second defender was going to close, and Atu Twoko had a chance to make a play on it back there as well.
Interesting decision for the Crocodiles to take the penalty instead of the result of the play.
Another low snap as Lane is forced to step forward. Man open, goal line incomplete. That one landed out of bounds around the 5. Lane just couldn't get enough on it to get that football to his intended target, Austin Brock.
Yeah, it's the throws on the run that are bothering Kahari Lane. We saw it on the last pass, and on this one, he's trying to look for that back shoulder, but when you're advancing up the pocket and throwing on the run, this is a tough throw to make, and man, it was almost made. And if it is, it's going to be a 1st and goal. Instead, it's now a 3rd and 19.
3rd and 19, they need, I believe, the 11-yard line to pick this up. Once again, 4 receivers on the field. Giants working out of the gun. Another horrid snap scooped up by Lane. He's in trouble. He throws, and he completes to the 15-yard line. Once again, it's Brock on the reception, but that is about...
It's going to be short by about 4 yards.
I'd say 5 or 6 maybe if they needed the 9. Or did I say the 11? And you're right, Dave. 4 or 5 yards short. They needed the 11.
Yeah, they needed the 11, and it's a great catch, in traffic. Yeah. That's a nice ball to put it on him, but a good catch. And it looks like the Giants might be – is that the end of the first – no, it's not. Just don't know. I think the Giants might have called for time here. We'll get the pickup of that in just a moment. Or it looks like they are going to switch fields here, Joe. So that's the end of the first quarter.
So the two teams will switch sides in preparation for the second quarter. Now, Dave, it is decision time for the Giants when play resumes. They did pick up some very valuable yardage if they're going to go field goal attempt in this spot. From here, it would be about a 32-yard field goal. They could also choose to go for it, and if they don't get it, the Crocodiles will have to begin their drive deep in their own territory. What do you expect them to do here?
I think they might kick. I think when you have a place kicker and a punter on a team and you use 2 roster spots for these, for these positions, I think you have to kick the field goal here. You're definitely in an advantageous position. The ball's at the 15-yard line essentially, so you're looking at about a 32-yard kick. And yeah, it looks like they've got Nieminen in the game, and we know the holder is fellow kicker Sebastian Sparks. So here we go, a chance to get 3 on this drive.
We'll see what they decide to do here. Once the camera shifts over to the right a bit, we will have a look, and I think you're right, Dave. They're going to kick here. Noah Nieminen out there in preparation for a field goal attempt. Once again, we would expect Sparks to hold. Once again, this will be about a 32-yard attempt with the ball spotted at the Seinajoki 15-yard line.
Yeah, I think officially they're going to call this a 33-yarder. Quick moving first quarter, too, that was.
Whistle blows, and play will resume with a field goal attempt by the Giants, looking to take a 10-7 lead. Watch the snap as well here. It's a bit low, but the kick is drilled straight through the uprights and good. as the Giants go in front 10-7.
Yes, they do. A field goal for the Giants makes it 10-7, and they've gotten points on both of their drives, Joe. So very, very efficient. Remember that big third down conversion in the middle of the field to Sumniemi, and Kahari Lane missing on a couple of throws, but making a big one on 3rd and 19 to get 15 extra yards, make that field goal a little bit more, makeable for Nieminen. And hey, in a game where we knew special teams was going to be a factor when you have place kickers on the roster like these two teams do, the game is now a 3-point game.
And you never know what the difference would have been had it not been for the yardage they picked up on 3rd down, but that kick was drilled and might have been good from the previous spot where they snapped it from on 3rd down. That had a lot on it, but of course plenty changes when you move back as much as they would have. Would have been about 15 yards if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
You never really know. Not often you see a 48-yard attempt in the Maple League. Kickoff played on a fly this time at the 5-yard line. Porsche on the run back across the 30, across the 40, up the sideline, across the 50, into Giants territory, still going, and finally brought down inside of the East City 35-yard line.
Yeah, he's been a difference maker. He's the touchdown, recipient in the passing game as well. But his ability to field this one, again, at the 5, and a little bit underrated here, but that is a 60-yard return, essentially, as the Crocodiles are at their own bench now. I wonder if there was a call here on this. I didn't see. Oh, yeah, I do see a flag down at the 33-yard line, Joe. So we'll see. It looks like could be the holding, could be the result, as they're going to pick up the flag. Yeah.
I was going to say, if a flag negates that run back, it could be a costly penalty. We'll see if we could spot what the officials may have seen initially, though I think it would have been ahead of the run back.
Yeah. I was showing the replay as they were picking up the flag, but I'm showing it again, Joe, and I'm going to look at about the 30-yard line to see if I can see what they do.
I saw a potential hold much, much sooner than that. I did not see anything near where the flag was thrown.
Yeah, I just looked at it again. I didn't see it. And I think they're right to pick up the flag.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
Bunch set up wide to the right here. Fowler throws that way. Screen pass complete. And that's going to go for a nice gain of nearly 8 yards on 1st down. And that takes Seinajoki inside of the East City 30-yard line.
Yeah, and, number 25, Mauricio Porsche, is making a lot of people say Deonta Sip who? Because as this slash player, he's not in the backfield. He's a slot receiver. But, he has the ability to get the ball at the line of scrimmage, make guys miss, and turns that into a 7-yard gain.
And they have found creative ways to get him the football. As Fowler's looking his way again, that's complete, but good coverage to bring him down immediately on the tackle. That was Ali Cavallo. Did they pick up enough for the first?
I was going to say, I think they did. Yeah, I was going to say it was enough. And Crocodiles coming right back after going 3 and out on their first drive, working quickly at the line of scrimmage. It's good coverage. There's a defensive back right on top of him, but very efficient, like you said, play. Moves the sticks, and now they're just outside the red zone.
3 receivers on the field this time. Once again, Fowler in the gun on 1st down. He handles the snap, had a clean pocket momentarily, flushed left, and that is nearly picked off the drop by Blomqvist.
Yeah, those tip drill, plays where they're so dangerous, and, that one's a little bit out in front of Blomqvist, but again, this is one that he should have be able to reach out for and grab and bring that in. It's going to be a minimal gain no matter what on the play, but still it's a play that needs to be made. And Blomqvist, you could see the little chip at the line of scrimmage, and if he makes that grab, it's going to go for about 3 or 4 yards instead. It almost resulted in an INT.
Now trips to the right on 2nd and 10 as a whistle comes in.
Perhaps respot the ball here or just make sure something at the line of scrimmage.
Based on the signal, I thought maybe they were adjusting the sticks to reflect 2nd down. It was just outside the frame of our view.
Porsche's unmarked as the slot receiver up there.
I think that's a linebacker in that seam there as the low snap is scooped up by Fowler. He's out of time, and he completes to Blomqvist. Touchdown, Crocodiles. How did he get that off?
Yeah, improbable play. I did hear some whistles come up. I don't think there is a flag down on this play, although they are working backwards a bit.
Yeah,
we're going
to
see.
There it is.
Yeah.
And I see exactly where the flag was. I think they got one of the Crocodiles for pinning a Giant down to the turf.
Yeah,
Would it have been a block in the back?
Yeah, moving the ball back, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Personal
I think they
foul.
got him for a block in the back.
And that's going to back them up 15 yards from the spot. So it'll be 2nd down and 25. But let's appreciate the play, at least, and the throw by Fowler here while we get ready. I mean, to pick this one up off the ground, I don't see the personal foul. I saw a lineman kind of on top of
I think
a linebacker, but
outside of the frame of view. That had to
play.
be it. I can't imagine that a personal foul came in anywhere else on that play.
So a little bit of insult to injury here as a touchdown is wiped off the board, which I have to still do. And instead, we have a 2nd and 25.
Trips to the right on 2nd and long. Fowler throwing left, and he completes, but it came out. And we'll see if they rule this incomplete. I believe they will. That one was in the grasp of Paavo Rantakomi, but he could not hold on following the contact.
Tell you what, Fowler's putting them where he needs to put them, and this is a play, again, that should be made, but it was the hit absorbed by Rantakomi, and he was unable to kind of complete the play or complete the catch. Knows he's going to get hit, but yeah, that's a nice play from behind to break things up. 3rd down and 25 now. Tough position here for this Crocodiles unit.
I know you and I didn't have any doubts, but if there were any doubts about the level of quarterback play coming in, these two signal callers have erased that. Fowler looking right this time. Down the field and dropped once again. In traffic, I believe that was Porsche. It was. Right back up the seam he goes. He had it in his grasp inside of the red zone, but could not hold on.
Yeah, I think Porsche just knew he was going to get decked, and I think that he was just trying to preserve himself. You could see he kind of had alligator arms on this, wanted to bring it in close because he knew he was going to absorb the hit, and, lost concentration just a tad, but it is, again, one that you want to have here, and on 4th down, they're going to have to punt.
Hiro Hilema was there on the coverage, and Dave, as they look to punt, there is a point I want to make about that last play. We'll wait for this punt to be touched down, and the Crocodiles get on top of it inside the 10-yard line. But on that play, it looked like the defensive back had arrived a bit early to the point where he needed to ease up and could not look to make a hit. I think if Porsche secures that ball, he might get taken down around the waist, but I think he was going to avoid that big bone-crunching hit.
Yeah, and remember how strict the Maple League is with player safety. Probably would have been called, but we are going to get another look at it. And, yeah, it looked like if Porsche makes that catch, he's not going to get decked.
Exactly.
Yep. But either way, tough opportunity and a tough stretch. What was looking like a real promising drive, a touchdown negated off of a penalty, and then from there the drive stalls.
It's a 1st down run for the Giants on their 3rd offensive possession. And it goes for a short gain just outside of the 10.
Yeah, it's exciting, Joe, because we're seeing a lot of passing, but both teams really haven't been able to get the run game uncorked. I realize that the Giants have a touchdown by Sebastian Lagora, and Kahari Lane has run the ball out of the pocket very well, but they really haven't established the run. Let's just say that. Let's just put it that way. And the line of scrimmage is kind of still up for grabs here for both of these teams. But the passing game has been on point, that's for sure.
If they gained anything on that play, it wasn't much. 2nd and long. Lane once again in the gun looking to throw. Delivers left, complete, and room to run after that catch for Ronnie Lindroos. And Lindroos is wrapped up and thrown down across the 30. That's a gain of more than 20 yards on 2nd down.
Yeah, and Kahari Lane has had some good pockets to pull from, Joe, but here he's going to absorb a hit as he gets as he gets rid of this ball, and he's able to stand in there very confidently, take that hit, and also put the ball right where it needs to be. You could see Kahari Lane get put down on that play, and the rest belongs to Lindroos, who makes a nice run after the catch.
Bit of a heavier look at the line of scrimmage here. 6 men on the line for the Giants as they hand off. Lagora up toward the sideline has a nice gain, picked up 7. And that should bring up a 2nd and 3 here, as that play was well blocked. Easily the best run of the game for the Giants halfback.
It's a flag down, however.
Yeah, there
right
it is,
at the
lost
38.
under the cleats.
Yeah.
See if this one's negated. It was thrown in the area of a penalty on the line.
And if it happened after the line of scrimmage, they'll walk it back 10 yards from the spot of the foul instead of the normal first and 20.
Yeah, it's a hold, so it's going to be first and long.
It'll be 1st and 20 or 10 yards from wherever the hold took place after he crossed the line of scrimmage, but it looks like it will be the full 10 yards. So 1st and 20 coming up, big 7-yard gain negated.
And I think if you're the Crocodiles, this is a situation where you got the ball first to begin this game. You want to get off the field here if you can and get that good starting field position to try and get even or take the lead before halftime. Lane in the shotgun once again. Neither team has run a play outside of the shotgun thus far. Lane steps up in the pocket. Pressure coming. And once again, he was wrapped up. Does not go down, but more Crocodiles coming in to clean up that initial broken sack. And I think they did get him behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it's going to be close, but, you know, Kahari Lane has a little bit of a magic act on this play, and number 99, Kevin Pointer, has to wonder what I have to do to take this guy down. He has 2 swipes at him. Here comes the first one. Kahari Lane gets away, and then Kahari Lane has to work himself back up there, and Pointer misses him again, but right into the waiting arms of the cavalry there, and finished off by Panohutu to end the play. 2nd down and 21.
Once again, Lane in the gun looking to throw. This time has a better pocket. Scrambling to his right, eyes downfield. He takes off across the 30, across the 35, and down at the 40.
17-yard gain on the play, and Kahari Lane, a tough guy to bring down. He takes a shoulder check at the end of this play and goes forward 5 more yards. So nice job there by Lane. It all starts with getting out of the way of the pressure first, the collapsing pocket. You need a huge chunk on this play, so you're forced to look down the field, and nothing materializing. Kahari Lane knowing enough to get out of the pocket, stretching it out towards the right side, and then finding some green.
He's not the quickest or the fastest, but he has great pocket awareness and good footwork. Once he gets going in straight line up the field, I would not want to be the defender who has to make that tackle. As Lane takes a timeout here, this is going to be a 3rd down and 4. So credit to the Giants offense once again from working out of what was a 2nd down and very long after a hold on 1st down, and then the sack for a loss of 1 on 2nd.
Yeah, you know, we talk about momentum all the time, Joe, and can you pick yourself off the mat when you have a real big negative play? And we saw on the last drive how Seinajoki could not. Remember, they had the touchdown negated, they had to go backwards, and they never could recuperate. And now the Giants have a chance here on a 3rd down and 4 to really negate that negative play with the holding. Remember, this drive started inside their own 10-yard line, and to be able to continue this drive, keep their defense on the field nice and rested with a 3-point lead, continue to keep the ball offensively. This is a huge win for the Giants if they're able to pick up this 3rd down. And I think sensing the enormity of it, Mike Eloranta calling timeout along with Kahari Lane to discuss this play.
And as I mentioned before, I think a really big part of the equation here is that the Crocodiles got the ball first to open this game and went 3 and out.
Right.
You go down 17-7 here with a touchdown drive, you might only have 1 more possession before halftime, and that puts a lot of pressure on you to make something happen with that possession. You'd love to get it back following 1 more play here. The Giants looking to keep this drive going. It is 3rd and 4. Lane takes the snap and throws middle, completing as he finds Austin Brock for a first down across midfield.
Wow, what an underrated play. Again, another play on timing. And again, Joe, look at the timing of Charles Acano as the defensive end, and look at the reaction by the right tackle and how he was there to meet Acano. Acano gets a great jump, but it's a good jump by the right tackle as well to pick up this block here, keep the lane open for Kahari Lane to make this nice throw. Might have gotten away with a little bit of an extra step.
First down at the Seinajoki 49-yard line, and Lane will keep it, lower his shoulder, and pick up 4. And
nice.
Maybe a bit more than that.
I was going to say, that's a nice ball
Did they
fake.
rule him down?
I got faked out on that play as well. I thought they was up top to Lagora, but they did give him that extra yard, Joe, so it's 2nd down and 5.
I had Lane with the football. I wasn't sure whether or not he went down at the 45-yard line. I'm getting a second look at it now on the delayed feed. And he ended up on top of a defender. That's a good heads-up play to keep on moving, realizing that he wasn't down yet.
Yep, and yards after contact for Kahari Lane is accumulating as well. His first guy touched him at about the 47-yard line. He's able to pick up 3 extra yards on it, and 2nd down and 5 here. Again, you keep the sticks in front of you. You don't go backwards. It means good things. And I'm very, very impressed with this Giants offense. And obviously the talent positions, we know about it. But even up front, they're doing a nice job against this Crocodiles front 4.
Trips to the left of the formation. Lane working out of the gun, handles another low snap and hands off to Lagora. And Lagora has nowhere to go. He is tackled at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
Yeah, you have to respect Kahari Lane's legs, and so that's what the Giants were banking on that play. But again, the Crocodiles were not fooled. They went where the ball was, so we're not fooled on the play. Lagora had nowhere to go, dead to rights. Very fortunate to get that ball right back at the original line of scrimmage, so it'll be 3rd down and 5.
They're going to start calling the area between right tackle and the wideout Kahari Lane. With how he's been able to scramble and make big plays with his legs up that seam. I think it's important, if you're a defense, not to let him break contain, because once he gets going, he's a tough man to tackle. It's 3rd down, trips to the left, Lane looking that way, throws downfield, complete! I think that was brought in. Swoniemi reaching back over his shoulder, kept that one off the turf. It's a first down at the 20 for East City.
Couple of huge 3rd down conversions, and the Crocodiles wanted an offensive pass interference, Joe, and you be the judge here. Does Swoniemi get hands on the defensive back here and push off right at the very end, right there?
He
and
may have. I don't know if it was enough, Dave.
Yeah, but 2 hands on the defensive back and a little bit of a shove. You could make the argument there. He got away with one, but what a big 3rd down conversion again for the Giants.
East City inches outside of the red zone as they hand off to Lagora. He looks to take it outside and picks up 3 on the play. 2nd and 7 coming up.
Yeah, you could see the Giants kind of swelling up with a little bit of, confidence now, right? They're starting to be a little bit more eclectic. They're running the ball a little bit more. They're not working in huge chunks of yards except for that last play, but really they're getting in and out of huddle quickly. They're calling the plays quickly. The snaps have gotten a little bit better, and it just looks like a team that's starting to hum here offensively, and that could be dangerous for the Crocodiles. Already down by a field goal. If you give up a touchdown here, you're now down by 2 scores on your home field.
Remember what I said earlier, Dave, about what you learn from an offense by what they do behind the sticks. Lane looking to throw quickly to the left. That's complete, but Lindroos is decked. He fumbled, and I think the Crocodiles have it.
Wow.
Did they rule him down?
Well,
I think they may have, Dave.
I thought he was, too. It looked like that play was long over and the whistle had sounded, but we're going to get another look at it. We'll slow it down as well. First and foremost, nice catch by Lindroos, but, yeah, they're going to say fumble here, Joe.
Yeah, that was a high hit on Lindroos, and he looked a bit shaken up.
Yeah, he did lose that ball, I think, beforehand. We're going to back it up a little bit more and look at it in slower motion if we can.
Yeah, I'm getting that second look now.
Yeah, it looks like as kind of he
Oh,
got
that's a helmet-to-helmet hit.
Yeah.
But he's a ball carrier, so that is a legal hit.
Wow, what a shift.
Yeah, huge shift. As the first play of this Seinajoki drive is a handoff for a short gain. But the point I was making before that play, Dave, is we learn plenty about an offense by what they do when they're behind the sticks. And so far in this game, when East City has been behind the sticks, they have managed to work their way back and pick up big chunks and ultimately first downs.
Yeah, and it goes against what I was saying before, too, how they're playing with confidence. They're playing with a little bit of moxie, a little bit of swagger, and then you get a play like that where you turn the ball over. That can kill the momentum.
It's a run on second down and a first down pickup for R2 Blomqvist.
Yeah, I think that's Blomqvist's longest rush of the game here. Hasn't had a great deal of carries, but that time you're able to get into the second level and make a guy miss. We'll try to get the replay here before the Crocodiles run another play.
And we've seen Seinajoki playing with some tempo. That's something we saw quite a bit last year as well. As they'll hand off again on first down, Blomqvist brought down just shy of the 40. Give him 5 on that carry, and all of a sudden, Seinajoki's beginning to gain some traction in the ground game.
Yeah, and again, it's something you want to establish is the run game in a game like this and show muscle at the line of scrimmage.
Right back to the line of the Crocodiles. They will hand off again, and Blomqvist had nowhere to go. He was fortunate to lose just 2, and that will bring up second, or make that third in about 7.
Seinajoki's running plays so quickly that by the time we get back from the replay, the last play has already started, but we're going to go back and watch this 2-yard loss in its entirety now that the Crocodiles are taking a little bit of extra time, and the Crocodiles are actually calling for a timeout here.
They're moving so quickly, I can't keep track of down and distance by memory.
It's 3rd and 7.
No time to do the mental math.
Both teams have taken a timeout in this one, so they're down to 2. We don't know how much time is left. We don't have access to the scoreboard here at Wirrakit Stadium, but Crocodiles down by a score, sensing a big play of their own here, Joe, on their own side of the 50. Looks like about a 3rd and a long 6, short 7, and head coach Jamie Hill wants to dial up the right call here.
Well, we've seen that this Crocodiles team throughout this game has been more than willing to throw downfield. They've been more than willing to throw into some tight windows, and it's a point I made a bit earlier in the game. If you had any question marks regarding the level of quarterback play here in the Maple League, those questions have been put to rest by the performance of these 2 quarterbacks here in this first half. And I think what makes it even more impressive is that these 2 quarterbacks are only in their 2nd week of regular season action with these 2 offenses.
Yeah, it's true. And, they've made this game fun, Joe. This has been a fun game so far, and these 2 signal callers are one of the big reasons why. Of course, they have a good surrounding cast around them, but it's been nice to see them battle. One versus one here. Who can match who?
Bunch to the left of this shotgun formation. Fowler looking the other way. Throws across the middle, complete. And that is going to be a first down to Justice Virtanen.
Yeah, this is a nice job, again, by Fowler to stay committed to the pocket. A lot of quarterbacks here in this situation, they would, tuck that ball under and run it. And instead, he's very patient, looking. 1 option, 2 options, 3 options. And now finally the 4th option, complete for a first down.
Once again, Fowler throws to Virtanen, and this time he could not hold on.
And they're going to say he did, Joe. They're going to mark him for a gain of 2 yards on that play. I don't like the spot.
Well, I think they're saying he fumbled.
Oh, did they? Oh, that would make a little bit more sense.
I don't know how that's a completion.
Yeah, we can't see it. We'll get back to it.
Oh yeah, I just watched it again. There's no way that's a completion.
Yeah, I didn't think it was either.
I'm shocked there wasn't more protest, as that one could have been picked off.
All right, we're going to go back and see it in real time. And it's, no way. And that should have been an incompletion, not a fumble. But either way, now it's 3rd down and 8, and we have another big 3rd down upcoming. Got to think there's not a lot of time left here because the Seinajoki Crocodiles are working really quick.
Yeah. But they did run it several times, so I would suspect we haven't reached the 2-minute warning yet. As Fowler will look to throw, he scrambles away from the rush and has plenty of room. Heaving downfield, man open, it's Porsche, and he's got it inside the 5, pushed out at the 1.
Now, Joe, there was a flag that came out right at the beginning of the play. I think it's a defensive encroachment foul, but we're going to take a look at the line. It might have been
a false start, Dave. We'll see.
Well, let's take a look.
There at right tackle.
They are moving the ball forward. It looks like this.
Yeah, it was against the Giants.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a look at it either way, and we'll see the little blip here. Looks like the left defensive end. Yep, there he goes, right over the ball. And, wow, what a way to cash in if you're the Crocodiles on a play here.
Well, I mentioned before how dangerous it was if you let Kahari Lane break contain. It appears the same goes for Fowler, and not only did he break contain, he broke contain to the left. That's his dominant side. Was able to get fully behind this throw and delivered a strike. They'll hand off on 1st and goal, and will take it in for the touchdown with a late flag coming in following that Seinajoki score.
All right, well, we'll get the call on the flag, which was right in the middle of the play, and we'll get that cleared up, and we'll get the signal before we show you this replay on Blomqvist's first touchdown of the game, but really set up by that dynamic throw and catch, Fowler to Porsche. It is going to be against the Giants, and Seinajoki, no doubt, will decline this, although Jamie Hill is going to get an explanation first. While he does that and we get you the official signal, here's the touchdown.
And, Dave, it seems like just a minute or two ago I was discussing how important it was for Seinajoki to get off the field and make sure they get another possession before halftime with a chance to maybe get even, maybe take the lead if they're lucky. They get the ball right back and march down the field in, I believe, 7 plays, if my count is correct. Somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah. And again, a couple of big third down conversions on that drive, similar to the Giants drive from before. There's a block, partially blocked.
Yeah.
Was that? And that could be a point you chase later on in the game.
That's huge. It keeps it a 3-point game, and we've already mentioned that the Giants have a place kicker, a competent kicker, and we've seen the kicking and holding combination pay off already with a bit of a low snap. They were still able to deliver on a point-after-touchdown attempt, and as I mentioned, their field goal attempt earlier in the game would have been good from much further back. It was a 33-yard try.
Yeah, Joe, we should mention that penalty that was called, that was a personal foul after the touchdown, and this is why there's going to be a kickoff from the 50 here. And you wonder what the Crocodiles are going to do, if they're just going to blast this one outside of the end zone, or if they're going to hang this one up. Yeah.
I'd put it in the end zone.
Or if they're going to put one straight up in the air and force the Giants to field here on a short field, trying to pin them in a little bit deeper. So a little bit of a chess match here, and we'll see what Jamie Hill decides to do. But to your point, Joe, great. I would kick it sky high and hope you nail them inside the 20. I mean, now's the perfect time to try that.
The level of returns we've seen in this game,
that's
I don't know
a good
if
point.
I'm giving them a chance.
Yeah, it's a good point. Very good point.
Kickoff on the way, and it is hit pretty well. I don't know if that will reach the end zone. I think it just got across the 5, and the run back is out across the 20, but not by much, so you'll take that.
They'll split the difference there.
Well, if the touchback is the 25,
right,
then
you got it to 22.
You netted 3 yards.
Yeah.
Is that the touchback in the Maple League?
I believe so, yeah. I think the 25 was.
I still live in the days where a touchback was the 20.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So the Giants had a really good drive of their own in the last one. Kind of got the, air cut out of their balloon with that fumble. Let's see if they can get back to moving this football.
It's another low snap out of the gun. Lane throwing over the middle, complete. And that's good enough for a first down.
Yeah, it sure is, and we'll see now if the Giants play with pace. I think they will here, sensing the time on the clock.
Have we reached the 2-minute warning yet?
We have not.
I did not see a signal.
We did not see an official
I
signal.
don't think we have, because there was not a stoppage that would lead me to believe we reached the 2-minute warning. But with the pace these two offenses have played with, it wouldn't surprise me if we just missed it. Lane once again in the gun. Good snap this time. He takes off up the middle. and will juke across the 35, tackled at the 37.
Now we have some whistles coming up, so
Yeah,
we'll
I
see
think
what this is.
We had either a timeout or the 2-minute warning. Indeed,
Yeah,
I think
2
it is
minutes.
the 2-minute warning.
Yep. So gives you a sense of what we're dealing with here. 2-minute warning.
And I think it's important to note, we touched on it already, I think a field goal is as much on the table to conclude a drive like this as it has been in any Maple League game we've covered. Very often we start to think field goal when an offense gets down maybe inside the red zone and has a third down and very long for whatever reason. It's not often we see field goal attempts from anywhere outside of 30 yards, I'd say. I think that's fair. But I think in a game like this where it's been a back-and-forth game, especially with that missed PAT, I think a field goal is as much on the table to conclude this drive as it has been in any point in any regulation time Maple League game we've covered.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I think, if you're the Giants, you're trying to get the ball to the Crocodiles 20. I think that's the sweet spot where you feel confident enough to go for 3 at the end, but you still need a sizable amount of yards here. We're talking about 40 more yards of real estate before you could start to entertain that.
4 receivers on the field in a spread shotgun set. Lane avoids one hit and throws it over the middle incomplete in the grasp of a second defender.
Well, you get rid of the ball there and maybe throw an interception. You're thinking, what are you thinking? But Kahari Lane saw his open receiver there, said, let me just put it near his orbit in the general ballpark of where his route is, and, saves a yard loss maybe on that play, sets up for a third down and a little bit shorter than what it would have been here had there been the sack. But pretty decent play there by Lane to save a couple of yards, and instead it goes to 3rd and 5.
I was about to make the point before that play that if you're the Crocodiles, your one big play up front, be it a sack or a turnover, from completely flipping this game. Lane will look to throw here on 3rd, and that is a big completion to pick up a first down at the 44-yard line.
Joe, did you see how the Crocodiles were lined up defensively at the line of scrimmage for that play? I mean, there was you could drive a Mack truck through the middle of that defensive line. They came in
was quite
heavy on the left
there.
side. Look at that. There's nobody above the center or the 2 guards on this play.
Yeah.
But they bring pressure on that left side.
And not just that, Dave. They didn't have anyone lined up within, I think, 7 yards of the wideouts either.
Yeah, and I think they're just thinking about the time on the clock and say, swing it out to the periphery and force you to use your timeouts.
Look at the setup here, Dave, at the bottom of the screen.
Right. Giving them that space.
Once again, an unorthodox look up front as Lane will look to throw. And again, he completes toward the sideline.
No.
They're going to say no. I thought that Lindrews had that one.
Yeah, and so did the Giants, too. They made a big fuss out of that. We're going to try to slow it down as slow as possible here.
Yeah, I thought he had it. Let's see if the replay proves us either correct or incorrect.
Yeah, I slowed it down a little bit extra here. Let's see if we can pick it up.
I just watched it again. I think he had it.
I think that's a catch. Yeah, I think that's a catch.
And we're not, viewing it in full 1080p, 60 FPS resolution on the replay anyway. Live action we are. But with the lower resolution replay that I have, and now I'm seeing it again in slow motion.
Yeah, I played it 3 times in slow-mo, and
There
I
is
think
nothing I see there that leads me to believe that hit the turf.
Yeah, each time I saw it, I believe that that's a catch. But, they don't have the ability to use instant replay here in the Maple League. There's no getting under the hood there. But I think if they had a chance to see it, I think they'd agree that was a catch.
I didn't think it was that close.
Yeah. We have a timeout, I believe, that's going to be called here.
That's a big call to rule that incomplete, because had that completion been ruled as such, the Giants would have been across midfield in Seinajoki territory, still with 2 timeouts. And I don't believe the clock has run following the 2-minute warning. So they would have a nice chunk of time left to work with in plus territory. And I think it would all but ensure Seinajoki doesn't get the ball with any considerable amount of time left on the clock, barring a Giants turnover.
Yeah, and the Crocodiles are the team that used that timeout just now. So they're down to 1. The Giants still have their 2. And again, if you look at it simply from yardage, I think the Giants need 35 more yards. I think they'd have to feel good about kicking from the 20. Anything more, they could take the shot, obviously. But, to your point from earlier, Joe, I think you and I have maybe seen, on one hand, the amount of 35-plus yard field goals that have been attempted in the Maple League last year. So they still have a long way to go here.
It's 2nd and 10. Lane in the gun. 3 receivers on the field. He will look to throw. Good protection. And Lane fires downfield, complete. Wow. No question about that one, as Lane finds Brock deep over the middle, and the Giants are in the red zone.
He dropped it right in the bucket, Joe. If there was a bucket there filled with water, you would have heard splash at the end of this one. I mean, you cannot time a throw better than this. And Kahari Lane, look at that, just dropped it right in. And we talked about needing the 20. Well, they got the 20 on one play. And now they have time. Now they can use some of that time. You have 2 timeouts as well. And so now you have the entire playbook at your fingertips. And, Joe, it looks like they're bringing in the field goal unit here to take so maybe there wasn't as much time as we thought on the clock after all.
Well, I can tell you this, that there's no way 2 minutes have come off the clock since the 2-minute warning was signaled. That I can tell you for sure. So it is possible that signal was a second down signal and that we missed the 2-minute warning.
Perhaps.
That is very possible, and it appears that was the case.
So either way, you would like to think this is going to be the final play of the first half. And we have it, yeah.
If the Crocodiles know the amount of time on the clock, which I'm sure they did, it is inexcusable to allow that completion.
Right. I mean, there was double coverage there. I mean, that pass was perfect.
Yeah, but
let's see if Nieminen can nail this one.
This is a big kick to tie it.
37 yards.
37-yarder is blocked. And the Giants get on top of it, but that will not yield them any points as Seinajoki comes up with the game's first big special teams play. It's a blocked field goal, and I believe that has brought the first half to a close.
Yeah, we're going to see the replay before we go to halftime, but, yeah, that's a bad snap at first, but, yeah, someone came in unblocked on that play.
It was Kasari.
Yeah.
And I think it was a different Crocodile who had the chance earlier. This time it's Kasari who comes off that edge. And I thought they could have blocked the PAT earlier. They do get home on this field goal attempt. And I would make the case that was the best snap of the game on any of the kicks for the Giants, and it did not matter.
No, it didn't. And, both teams leaving a few points on the board. Seinajoki missing an extra point. They could very well have a 4-point lead and more of a touchdown lead than a field goal. And for East City, you leave 3 on the board after a great play that set up that field goal. They have to go into halftime not tied, but down by 3.
And with a chance to seize the momentum heading into the halftime break, the Giants see their final possession of the first half end in a blocked field goal. And as you mentioned, Dave, that keeps them trailing by 3. Our score, Seinajoki 13, East City 10, as we head to halftime here in Seinajoki, Finland. When we come back, the second half in this Maple League Game of the Week for Week 2. That's coming up next here on the PDF Sports Network.
PDF Sports Network is officially seeking sponsors for the 2026 Vaahteraliiga season. The Vaahteraliiga is the top professional American football league in Finland, and now, for the first time, is available in the English language and in the U.S., courtesy of PDF. Join us as we make history by showcasing the Maple League to a new worldwide audience. Our partnership with the Vaahteraliiga was recently featured in International Business Journal as a groundbreaking venture that in 2025 earned us a Global Recognition Award and a GHP Magazine Award for Best Local Live Broadcasting in the nation. It's time to bring our coverage to the next level and showcase your products and business to local and international audiences. Show your support now by calling us at 732-723-8189 or by emailing pdfsportsnet@gmail.com.
Burgers are better at the Brownstone in Metuchen.
My weekend starts with the Brownstone burger, topped with cheddar, barbecue sauce, and a fried egg.
Give me the Hawaiian burger. I love the Canadian bacon and sweet pineapple.
How do you like your salads? Shrimp, chicken, beef?
Stop in and see why families are eating good at the Brownstone in Metuchen.
We'll meet you at the Brownstone.
We'll meet you at the Brownstone.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here, along with Joe Calv, wanted to do a podcast. Everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen?
I'm so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials. Check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right path.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Refined, restorative, results-driven. At CMX iMed Bar, we blend medicine, aesthetics, and wellness into one luxury experience, led by Dr. Angela Roque. Located in the heart of Pier Village, Long Branch. Visit cmximedbar.com or text 9089232694 to look better, feel better, live elevated.
Attention, local businesses and professionals. Isn't it time to elevate your game? Now you can advertise your business or product on PDF Sports Network. Your ad will appear on all of our broadcasts, including this one. Don't have a commercial? We'll make one for you, absolutely free. What better way to showcase your product and brand while supporting the best local sports, teams, and leagues? Call now at 732-723-8189 or visit us at pdfsportsnet.com.
And we are back from Seinajoki, Finland, as we get set to begin the second half between the Crocodiles and the visiting East City Giants. Joe Foreman on the call alongside David Pizzuto. And Dave, second half about to get underway. The Crocodiles lead this game by 3. It was a blocked field goal that brought the first half to a close, keeping Seinajoki in front. But that doesn't take away from what the Giants did in that first half. They controlled play for much of the first 24 minutes, but a big completion on third down by Seinajoki set up a touchdown, and that put them in front heading into the break.
Yeah, I think both teams should feel like they've done enough to be winning this game or to have a chance to win this game at the conclusion of the final 48 minutes. But this second half is going to be, make or break here at this point. And again, both teams did well enough defensively, offensively, and in all facets to feel like they can come out here and win this game. But they also left some plays on the field. Both teams had some plays that took points off the board. The Crocodiles had a touchdown that was negated for a penalty, ended up not scoring at all on that drive. They missed an extra point as well. And, of course, the East City Giants missing that field goal right at the very end of the first half. They leave 3 on the board as well.
Kickoff on the way, landing just inside of the 20. On the run back is Burnett. He heads toward the near side before he's brought down just shy of the 25-yard line. And that's where the Giants will begin their first drive of the second half. East City did a lot well on offense during that first half. They did not punt the football in the first half. That's something else to note. Their non-scoring drive ahead of the blocked field goal ended on a fumble, and then, of course, their second drive that came up without points was that blocked kick.
Yeah, and so, again, feeling like you've done enough, especially offensively, but only 10 points to show on the scoreboard, and, of course, turnovers and the blocked kick, a big part of that.
Lane looking to throw out of the gun on first down, flush to his right and completes. Austin Brock has had himself a phenomenal game thus far, and that was an impressive throw by Lane as well.
Yeah, it starts with some pretty decent timing for Lane to get rid of this football. And, Brock is well covered. It's not like he's, sitting out there wide open. He's got 2 green jerseys next to him. He's got a defensive back in his hip pocket and is still able to make that play. Decent coverage by Hakila, but just a great pass and a great catch.
That is a perfect ball from Lane. And you said it, Dave. It seems like this offense has done enough to have this team ahead in this game. And the defense has played well, too.
Right.
It was 2 very big plays for the Crocodiles that led to points. Bit of a high snap this time. Lane in trouble, and he fights through contact and gets that throw away as he sends it into his team's bench.
Yeah, he's been very active in this game, and he's doing well to get rid of the football. Then all that time, he got outside the pocket, made sure he was outside of the tackles, and puts it into no man's land, and that's why there's no intentional grounding on that play. But that started with a bad snap as well. And if there's something on this offense that really needs to be cleaned up, aside from the fact that they really haven't had much of a running game in this one, those snaps have been a little bit adventurous too. So that's something that you want to clean up. But, by the time he got that ball into his midsection, it's kind of tough. Defense was on top of him.
Trips to the left here on 2nd down as Legora takes the handoff and turns upfield. And he lowers his shoulder to force his way out to the 50.
Yeah, on 2nd and 10, I was not expecting a run on that play. Probably neither were the Crocodiles. And Legora had a nice running lane to work from there, able to put his shoulders and head down and got a good 7 yards on this play. That's just a nice job there, and some good downfield blocking as well by the Giants.
Good second effort after that contact just shy of the 50 as well, reaching the ball forward and stumbling for an extra yard or 2. You said it, Dave. That brings up a 3rd and short. It will be 3rd and 3. The entire playbook open here, I would say. The big question is whether or not it's 4-down territory as Lane saw movement on his right. It looked like Akano may have jumped across.
Well, it looks like the wide receiver and the defensive back right here. I think it was number 12, Austin Brock. And they are going to call it. Yeah, they are going to call it on them. Take a look at the bottom of your screen on this replay, and you'll see the movement.
Moved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought maybe Lane saw Akano come out of his stance, and then
it's a good point too, because
Akano was getting that call, but I think Akano believed it might be on him initially.
Yeah, and maybe that's why Brock moved, because he saw Akano. But either way, a 3rd and 3 becomes a 3rd and 8, so you're a little bit more limited here.
For sure. Motion man is Brock. He has been the favorite target of Lane in this game. He's looking that way again. He throws for Brock, complete for another 1st down.
Yeah, you're starting to see some good rapport between these two. And again, it's not a complicated route. You're just kind of getting to that sticks. You're getting to those sticks. You're going maybe a yard or 2 ahead, and you're sitting down in that zone. And then it's up to Kahari Lane to make sure he puts it low enough where only the receiver can grab it, come down with it, and just go right down to the turf and get yourself another set of downs.
And with that motion, Dave, Seydou Diallo is the nearest man in coverage to the wideout. He's a linebacker.
Right.
That's a tough matchup. Spread shotgun set. Lane takes off to his left, looking downfield, throws that way, and it is off the fingertips of Lindroos trying to make a difficult over-the-shoulder catch.
Yeah, if there's one negative to Kahari Lane's game in this game, it's that his throws on the run have not been great. This one is actually pretty good. It's over the shoulder. It's the only place a catch can really be made by Lindroos, but unfortunately he just ran out of real estate there by the sideline, and it'll be 2nd down.
Whether or not he could make that catch in bounds, I'm unsure about, but that ball was put in a really good spot where the defender couldn't get it, that's for sure. That will bring up 2nd and 10. Trips to the left of this shotgun set. Fake handoff, and a throw over the middle is dropped. That's a rare miscue from Brock in this game. Make that number 18, Kwopamaki. Those crinkled numbers will get you sometimes.
Yeah, they will. And again, this is just another one of these simple routes that you're just asking your receiver. He's in the inside slot. 4 yards, turn around. Ball will be on you. It was, but it went right through the fingertips. And what could have been a 5-yard gain that set you up for a 3rd and short. Now makes it 3rd and long. And how many rabbits are the Giants going to be able to pull out of the hat here on 3rd down? They've been great on 3rd down plays in this game. They're going to need another one here.
Both teams have had some really big 3rd down connections thus far. Motion man Swoniemi stacked out wide to the right with Brock. Lane is looking that way, throwing downfield. He is picked off. And room on the run back for Atu Twoko. And he stumbles out of bounds just shy of the East City 45-yard line.
Well, Kahari Lane has been great all game, Joe, but he throws this one, doesn't see the safety kind of hanging out back there in the middle of the field. At least I think he didn't pick him up because this was thrown right at him, or is actually maybe was expecting that route to get cut, Joe. Instead, there was a fly route or a streak that was being ran as we get the call after the play on the Crocodiles. Looks like a little bit too much celebrating there after the interception by Twoko. But either way, Seinajoki takes over.
Looking at that replay, it's tough to say with certainty considering when the receiver and defensive back enter the frame. But I think Brock wanted that ball thrown over the top of Twoko.
Yeah, I agree.
Where there was room. There was plenty of room. But if you're a quarterback expecting that route to be broken inside toward the center of the field, that ball's not going over the top.
Yeah, at first I thought it was simply a bad pass, but I think that's just a route, a route misread. I don't know whose fault it was and what the original route was, but
it's a handoff out of the gun on 1st down for the Crocodiles, and that was a big penalty. You said it, Dave. Excessive celebration resulting in the 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and that backed them all the way up from the East City 45 to their own 40. They pick up 4 on the 1st down run.
Yeah, so got to get a little bit of that real estate back, but that's obviously a trade-off that the Crocodiles will make, of course, getting the ball and getting a really good return by Twoko as well.
It's another handoff on 2nd down and a big pickup, the biggest of the game for Blomqvist, as he was tripped up just shy of the Giants' 35.
Well, I'll tell you what, Blomqvist has not been really able to showcase that speed coming out of the backfield. But I'll tell you what, he gets to the 2nd level here. Seinajoki's going to go quickly here, so we'll need to get you back.
It's a fake handoff this time and a completion on the quick post route. Virtanen with the reception takes Seinajoki down just outside of the 25, put them at the 25 exactly.
Yeah, they'll move the sticks. They're not giving us much of a chance to run replays, but eventually we'll get back to that run by Blomqvist. But a couple of back-to-back 1st downs here, and the Crocodiles are now moving this football.
And they will hand off to Blomqvist, who is immediately taken down. No gain on the play.
Yeah, we'll get a chance to go back to that original run by Blomqvist, and you could see the 2nd level and then the dash of speed there and a touchdown-saving tackle in the backfield by Nolan Bernat.
Seems like as this game has gone on, the Giants' defense has been worn down a bit by the Seinajoki offense, and part of it has been the tempo with which they've gotten to the line of scrimmage and snapped the football. This time, Fowler will keep, and that is a good job to get just an arm on him. I believe that was Casper Callis who got a piece of him before he was tackled.
Yeah, and if there's one thing that we haven't seen a lot from the Crocodiles, it's been the keeper. It's been Fowler taking off by himself, and that's really the first time a designed run has been called since really early in the game for him, and it brings up a 3rd down and a long 5 here.
Once again, Fowler in the gun. He will fake the handoff and throw quickly to the flat. That is complete. That is a 1st down, and that takes Seinajoki inside the 10-yard line.
Well, nice play, and again, it's a quick drop here, a 1-step drop by Fowler. Work it out right into the flat. They want to go quickly again here, but we'll get you the replay, and then you're expecting your wide receiver to make the rest of the play, and Alex Yamson does.
Yamson getting involved from the tight end position off the line of scrimmage. He is listed as a wideout on the roster, but has been lined up at tight end quite a bit, as Fowler will keep again, cut up field, and leap into the end zone for the touchdown.
Well, we just finished saying they haven't dialed his number on run plays much in this game at all. You might have thought that they would have talked about that at halftime because it seems like the adjustments have been made, and the Crocodiles have the game's first 2-score lead. They go up 19-10 on a dynamic drive. Again, Joe, all set up by that turnover by the Giants, their second of the game, and the Crocodiles turn it into cash. 6 points on the board with one more forthcoming.
And the Giants had the bodies there to stop Fowler, but he planted that left foot and accelerated upfield for 6. As the PAT looked to have been shanked. I don't think it was blocked.
I don't think so either. Yeah, just not struck well.
Off Niskanen's foot awkwardly, and we saw that on one of the earlier punts by the Crocodiles as well. And that will keep it a 9-point game. So not necessarily the most important point right now, but should it come down to a touchdown and a field goal, that's one you may regret later.
Yeah, well, again, instead of an 11-point game, it's a 9-point game. Does it matter right now? Not so much. But the Giants, with a field goal are within a touchdown, whereas, they would have needed 2 scores, a field goal, a touchdown, and a 2-point conversion if it was a 21-10 game. But still too early to start thinking about those dynamics. But, again, a little bit of points left on the field for the Crocodiles, but they'll take that trade-off. Another Giants turnover. It results in points for the Crocodiles. And, again, the Giants, for as good as they've played offensively, Joe, they're stuck on 10. They only have those 10 points. They've moved the football, but the turnovers have really killed them here.
And, Dave, how much has this game shifted since that fumble?
Definitely.
The Giants were on the doorstep, a chance to go up 2 scores with a touchdown. They fumble. They have the Crocodiles in a 3rd down and 8 as Seinajoki kicks this one out of bounds. So perhaps that can jumpstart a comeback for East City. But that 3rd and 8 deep completion from Fowler to Portia, preceded by the fumble, really changed the complexion of this game completely.
Yeah, it sure did. And when you're the visiting team, in a foreign building and you're playing a team that, also had a big win last week, I mean, you can't leave those opportunities on the table like that. And you got to give credit to the Crocodiles. They obviously make the play, right? They forced the fumble. They recover the fumble. They made that interception. They ran it back 30 yards to put their offense in good position. So take nothing away from them. But if you're the visiting team here, if you're the Giants, you have to protect that ball at all costs. And you have to continue to let your offense cook because they have cooked in this game. They've done well for themselves. And instead of taking the field position here, they're going to make the Crocodiles re-kick.
Second attempt on this kickoff on the way. Fielded just inside of the 25, and might have been better to take the 40 there.
Yeah, they would have had the 30. Yeah, exactly, the 35 or the 40.
Yeah,
but
I'm surprised they had them re-kick. But if you think you can turn a return into a big play on special teams, you understand it. Ultimately, it cost them about 8 yards. East City will take over from their own 32, now trailing by 2 scores for the first time. And I think it's not must-score territory yet, Dave, but in terms of momentum, they really could use some points on this drive.
Yeah, I was going to say, Joe, it's not it's not panic time, but it's the first time there's legitimate pressure on this Giants offense now. Like, they have to respond. They're down by 2 scores, and they're coming off a couple of turnovers.
Lane will throw on first down, complete to the sideline. And that will go for a gain of 5 or 6 yards on first down, and you'll take that every time on first.
Yeah, and again, there's still plenty of time left in this game. You have to think we're midway through the 3rd, so the time is not so much a factor here, but the quality of the drive and the possession is at this point for the Giants, because you can't keep going 30, 40 yards down the field and keep coming up with 0 on the scoreboard. So they need something to show for this drive.
They once again line up in the gun on 2nd and 5. It's a handoff to Lagora and a big hole up the middle. Perhaps an even better tackle by Jalo in the secondary.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised Lagora kind of changed the pace here. He kind of hit that hole with such pop, and you just expected him to just kind of railroad through the second level. Instead, he kind of held up a little bit, maybe looked to get a little fancy. But either way, it's a long gain for him and a good first down.
Dave, if he breaks that toward the other side,
breaks that to the right. Yeah,
I think
he breaks
he's gone.
it to. I agree with you, Joe. It just looks like if he would stutter and go off to the right side, there was a lot of green there. Chose the wrong angle.
It was going to be a foot race to the sideline if he chose to go right. Instead, planted his foot and went back to the left. 1st and 10. Lagura gets another carry and is across midfield down at the Seinajoki 49. Perhaps they marked him down at the 50.
Yeah, gets just 2 yards on the play, but again, a good job just to get past the line of scrimmage, try to chop away here. The Giants have had some big throws in this game, but really for the most part, they've lived, in 5 and 10 yard chunks in this game. So this is the position that they want to be in here. 2nd down and 8, you cut it to a 3rd and short, or maybe pick up the first here, and you just keep moving the sticks.
Well, the key to their success on the offensive side of the ball is that they've been great on 3rd down in this game.
Yep.
Trips to the left this time. Lane looking that way and nearly gets picked. And it seems like he's just a bit out of rhythm now. Yeah, that has been for the last couple of drives.
That was Topola, and that's a tough play for Topola to make because he's only 3 yards past the line of scrimmage there, and that ball is coming in a little bit hot, and so he is able to swing at it and get a paw on it. But yeah, Lane doesn't pick him up in that low zone. He's kind of lost in the offensive and defensive line there. So a little bit of a miscue. It doesn't cost the Giants anything but the loss of down.
Suoniemi was open on that sideline as well. Big crowd at the line of scrimmage. The Crocodiles drop back into coverage as Lane throws deep, complete. Forced out of bounds was Suoniemi, and that is a big play on 3rd. Yet again, the officials are going to talk about it and make sure he had a foot in bounds.
Yeah, and remember, you only need 1 foot.
Yes.
The Giants are looking to work quickly here, but they are going to mark it as a completion. And I slowed it down here, Joe. We could take a look on the next look back on it, but it was close. Yeah, I was thinking
very close. I assumed he had one in real time, but I don't know if he did, Dave.
I don't know. And
the second look made me question it.
No, I don't think he's in. I don't think he's in. We're going to see it again at some point, but
okay, I'm about to see the slow motion look now, but first to live action. First down, Giants at the 24-yard line of the Crocodiles. And Lane will keep it for a short gain. So
right, Joe,
I'm watching the replay now. Yep. Yeah, I'd have to see it frame by frame. But looking at that slow motion look, Dave, I think.
So close. So close.
You know what? I think he did have the left foot.
Yeah, like that left foot was planted.
I think he had it.
I'm going to try to stop it. Yeah, it's really hard to stop. But
yeah, you have to bring it to the minimum speed and cut the replay down to a couple of seconds.
Yeah,
that way you don't have too much. That's a catch.
Yeah,
the left foot is down.
And give credit to the officiating crew. They spoke about it and they made the call. And it'll be 2nd down and 9 after the Kahari Lane 1-yard rush.
In real time, my instinct was that he had it. And then once you slowed it down for me, I thought, oh no, maybe not. As they'll throw the screen here on 2nd and 8, and they'll pick up about 3. May have been closer to a 2nd and 9. So make it a 3rd down and 6.
Yeah, I agree with that. 3rd and 6 as the first down marker, I believe, is at the 14-yard line. Yes, indeed. That ball's at the 21, so it's actually a 3rd and 7. And it's a big play here for the Giants. They've done very well on 3rd down, including that last catch on the sideline, acrobatics by Suoniemi. And again, they're in field goal range. This is about where they kicked from to end the first half, but they did miss a field goal. Well, not miss. They had one blocked. But they would like to get this first down.
This is a big play here. And it is a throw. Lane steps up through the pocket, out of time, and down he goes. Akano in there for the sack once again. And for Seinajoki, this defensive front continues to make big plays.
They sure do in big moments of the game as well. And now it's 4th down, and they will bring in the field goal unit. So they hold fast. And, perhaps the Giants racing up to the line after that catch on the sideline, looking to run another play, maybe it cost them a little bit because they only got 1 yard on that play, and then they never could get back into rhythm there, and you get the sack to end it all. But it's a big 40-yard field goal here coming up.
This is a long one compared to what we typically see here in the Maple League, and it is an important kick. Even in the kicker, Sparks the holder. The kick is up, and it looks good. And indeed it is. Yeah, that is a big-time kick.
Absolutely. It took a while for the signal to come up. I was doubting it for just a moment, but that just made it. It made it over the bar and
Just
from 40 yards out.
Yep. Just over the bar. And who knows how much inside of that left upright it was. Very tough to make out. It looked to be fairly safe inside of the upright. The only question is, did it have the distance? Indeed it did. And now, leading by 6, you're in a position as the Crocodiles where that PAT that was shanked, it could come back to bite you.
Yeah, exactly, because the Giants just need a touchdown. They don't have to worry too much about, getting a 2-point conversion after, because remember, the Crocodiles have missed 2 extra points in this game. So it takes it off the table, and the Giants with a touchdown and an extra point, just the 1-point variety, would be back up top on the Crocodiles. So again, we talk about it all the time. You chase those points all game long. And, conversely, if the Giants hit that field goal at the end of the half, it's a 3-point game instead of a 6. So the kicking game is definitely factored in positively and negatively in this game. But either way, we're back to a 1-score game, and the Giants' defense now with the task of stopping the Crocodiles.
East City set to kick off in a 6-point game, still the third quarter. Here from Seinajoki, Finland. A low line drive kick skips into the arms of the return man inside the 15. Oh, and a big hit. Wow. Capo Peltola drilling the return man. I believe that was number 34. Sifiso Salama on the run back, and he got planted.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see that slow-mo as well from the jump here on the return. But the Giants choosing to squib one, and yikes. Oh, decleated.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, that's one you think about for a while.
Big-time hit. That is a big-time hit.
You get hit like that, you run back to the sideline, pretend it didn't hurt, and then you start picking up the pieces.
Yeah, the first down pass high off the play fake, and the look was there. Virtanen, if he puts that on him, had a lot of running room in front of him.
Yeah, those timing throws, those quick slants, or those 7-yard slants up the field, they can be very, very dangerous if you catch the wide receiver in stride. He could still be racing down the middle of the field for points, but instead, a little bit of a misfire there, up high, 2nd and 10.
And you can see with a play like that, this offense still utilizing the option as Blomqvist spins off a hit and picks up the first down. I did not think that was going to go for much, but Blomqvist spun off first contact and stumbled across the sticks for the first.
Yeah, Blomqvist is a runner who tends to stay high even when he's up, and you can see he stands straight up and keeps his feet under him. It allows him to stay balanced and makes the play there for 10-plus, first down.
Trips to the right of the formation this time. Fowler keeps and takes off toward the sideline as he is brought down following a gain of 4.
Yeah, no question at halftime, Seinajoki wants to do more of this and get Fowler on the run, keep the spy on him. It frees up, somebody on defense who now has to worry about Fowler. He's a gifted runner. He's not the fastest, not the fleetest, but can burn you there.
Hand off to Blomqvist, goes for a gain of a yard, maybe 2. And that's going to set up a 3rd down and 4. And I think, Dave, it's clearly a point of emphasis coming out of halftime for the Crocodiles to incorporate the option a bit more, get Blomqvist some more touches, and really keep this defense guessing.
Yeah, and also not to be super dependent on the passing game. Allow your running back, allow your line to get into rhythm, allow them to play. As an offensive lineman, you love the run game, and that's what you want to kind of reinforce here, especially playing with the lead.
We've seen big plays on 3rd down throughout this game. The Crocodiles looking for one more. Trips to the left, 3rd and 4. Fowler throwing, complete Porsche. He's across the 45, across the 40, and down inside of the East City 30-yard line.
Yeah, very simple play. It's a 5-yard pass, essentially, and Porsche does the rest because he's in open space when he makes that. Just 5 yards, turn around, the ball's on top of you. And once you make the catch, you have free reign there.
It's too easy, Dave.
Yeah.
They had multiple zones in that short to intermediate distance over the middle, but Fowler with a perfectly timed and well-thrown ball right on the numbers in stride, finding Porsche. And that very well could be the end of the third quarter.
I think so. Yeah, they didn't get the play off, and that is indeed the end of the third. Lightning quick.
These two offenses have been very efficient for much of this game. We have seen the Giants playing behind the sticks just a bit. You'd like to avoid that if you're East City. I think they corrected that on their last drive for sure. And the big play along the sideline where Suoniemi just got that left foot down in bounds really is what sparked that scoring drive and led to the field goal. But the Crocodiles now looking to answer right back are deep into Giants territory. That being said, I think with the woes they've had in the kicking game so far, much of this area of the field may be 4-down territory.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. I mean, unless they're in very close. But judging by the way these extra points have gone, I would have very little confidence in my kicking game at this point. So it'll be interesting to see what their decisions would be. But I agree with you, Joe. I think if you're the Seinajoki Crocodiles, you're thinking 6 points here or bust, unless you're getting really, really from in close. But then again, if you're really in from in close, the 5-yard line, why wouldn't you go for it on a 4th and goal?
Well, the way I look at it, I always make those decisions in terms of 1-score game or 2-score game. Mm-hmm. If you have any confidence at all in your kicking game, I think you kick and go up the 9 points. But do they have that confidence is the question. I'm not sure they do, given how things have gone.
Right, exactly. When you look at those 2 extra points, you're saying, I don't know about that.
Exactly. Spread shotgun set here on 1st down. Ball at the Giants' 29. Fowler throws right and completes. Virtanen with room. And he works his way inside of the red zone down at the 17-yard line of the Giants.
Yeah, there is a flag down, however, so we're going to see what the result of this flag is here. The Crocodiles are moving forward, thinking that this play will stand. At least that's where the ball has been marked to.
And you see that quick out as the Giants are off sides. But looking back at some of the Crocodiles games that we covered last season leading up to this week's game, that's a play that they really liked last year. Get the ball out of the quarterback's hands quickly, throw that quick out, and take what the defense gives you when it's there. And we've seen that play a couple of times, including that reception that we thought was incomplete, instead was ruled a fumble.
Yeah.
But that out route is certainly a big part of this offense and getting the ball out quickly. Fowler in the gun once again, fakes the quick throw and scrambles right, directing traffic, throwing, end zone, caught, Virtanen, touchdown.
Gorgeous play, and Fowler, patient, dancing to his right, dancing to his left, ends up in his right again, and sees Virtanen working across. That's your quarterback's best friend. When you're on the move and you're looking for something to develop, that guy moving from left to right, your best friend. And look at that throw. On a dime, Virtanen gets in the end zone, and the Crocodiles have now moved well ahead here, 25-13.
Seinajoki's been largely unstoppable since their final drive of the first half.
Yeah. And I'll make a point after this as well.
This PAT should be interesting.
No, that was
it is perfect.
Really good, yeah. But I was going to say, Joe, it seems like for all the good that the Giants are doing in this game, they're moving the ball offensively. They're starting to get their run game involved. They're starting to do things, and then they get hit with a snag. They get hit with a fumble. They get hit with an interception, a missed field goal at one time. And, they have gotten the 2 field goals and the touchdown. But then there's a play, Joe, and we're going to watch that replay again. There's a play where the Giants actually get home. They have some pressure on Fowler. They get in there. They rush 5 guys. They're putting pressure. Fowler has to dance. He has to look for a 2nd and 3rd and 4th option. But, it works out in the Crocodiles' favor because Virtanen picks up the fact that Fowler is running to his right, breaks off his original route, and comes back towards his quarterback, and they just complete the play. So the Giants have to be, just unfortunate at this point, saying, man, we've done so many good things in this game, but we're just at the opposite end of the stick here.
I think the big difference between these two teams in this game thus far has been the pressure that the Crocodiles have been able to put on Kahari Lane. The Giants have not been able to put that same pressure on Christopher Fowler. And I think ultimately, if Seinajoki goes on to win this game, that's the difference.
Yeah.
This is Brock on the run back, taken down shy of the East City 30-yard line, and that's where the Giants will begin what is undoubtedly a critical drive for them, now trailing by 2 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah, especially thinking of how quickly this time is evaporating in these quarters. You kind of now have to think about abandoning the run game a little bit. You can't just work in 3 and 5 yard chunks anymore. You know, you're going to need a touchdown quickly. You're going to need a big stop, preferably on 3 downs from the Crocodiles. And then you're going to have to try and get into the end zone not once but twice in this game. So field goals kind of off the table for them as well.
I think those Crocodiles pass rushers have to be licking their chops on a drive like this. They have a chance to put this game away here, especially after that first down carry goes for close to no gain.
Yeah, it just doesn't go for much, maybe a half a yard to a yard. But, you know, again, the Giants, they are choosing to huddle up here. They want to be deliberate about what they do, and I understand it here, but time is of the essence. You're down by 2 scores. Remember that in the Maple League, the quarters are only 12 minutes long. The clock stops when you pick up a first down, when the ball is reset. But otherwise, this clock is moving, and it's running.
It's second down and a long 9. Once again, Lane in the gun, bunched to the top of the formation, wide to the right. Lane off the pass fake, or I should say the fake handoff, will throw incomplete to the right sideline.
I don't know if that was tipped or it looked a little funny.
I don't think
coming
so.
out.
I think it was just a throwaway, effectively. Unless the comeback did not come back far enough. That's possible as well. Getting a second look at it now on the replay monitor.
No, it was tipped. It was tipped. Yeah.
That's a good eye you have.
Yeah, I got the bigger screen for the replay here, and yeah. Third
That
down
will
and
bring
9.
up third and long, and I don't know if you could go for it here, because if you give up a field goal, it's still a 2-touchdown game if you give up a field goal. Let's see what they do. Third and 9. Lane steps up, throwing deep downfield, incomplete. Lindroos, the intended target.
Yeah, it would have to be a perfect pass just outside the outstretched defensive back's hands, and that was going to be too much. Kahari Lane did have a good pocket there. It was collapsing on him, but he was able to step up and make that throw. Unfortunately, the only option he has on that play, that would have been an amazing play if it were to be made, but not to be.
Yeah, just not enough room over the top to complete that pass. The Crocodiles had 2 defensive backs in the area, one behind the receiver and one closing in from the middle of the field. And to answer the speculation, they indeed will punt. I don't think that's surprising, especially with no yardage gained. And that ball takes a great Giants bounce and rolls all the way down to the 21-yard line. They'll spot it at the 22 here.
Yep, but it really doesn't matter what the field position is at this point. If you're the Giants, you need a 3-and-out here defensively. And you have to do it against a team that has really found its rhythm offensively. You know, Seinajoki, they had a 3-and-out to start the game, and, you know, they've had a couple of miscues. They've had some penalties. They had a touchdown that was wiped off of the board by a penalty. But really, since that time, Joe, they have not missed a beat offensively, and they've been doing it by cutting the Giants in very different ways. You know, the passing game, the running game, work in the periphery, the option. It's all working right now.
That Giants fumble completely changed this game as Blomqvist gets yanked on the face mask. Is there no flag?
There better be a flag, because he was halfway through that run. He was trying to adjust his helmet back onto the front of his face.
Yeah, and that is a big miss. There's got to be a flag on the field
there's
somewhere.
no flag. There's no flag. Look at
this.
this. And
oh, my goodness.
I appreciate what Blomqvist is trying to do. He's running the football, has the ball in one hand, and with the other hand, he's trying to put his helmet back on the right side of his face.
That is a big no call, because that gain did not go for much, if he gained any yardage at all.
No, I think they gave him 1.
Yeah, I thought he gained a bit. And no matter, the Crocodiles once again complete for a first down, and I think that is the first reception of the game for listed quarterback Alexi Peltakangis.
And, you know, I was going to say, I think the Crocodiles are going quickly here with a 13-point lead.
They surprised me, yeah.
Right.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's good. Another good timing pattern there on the slant.
Yeah, these two teams have been on completely opposite trajectories since about the midway point of the second quarter. That fumble by the Giants completely shifted the momentum of this game. And once the Crocodiles turned that turnover into a touchdown drive, it's been all Seinajoki.
Yeah, and, we say it so many times, we should know better, Joe. We always talk about, the big performers and what teams have to do. But the end of every game, it always comes down to the intangibles, doesn't it? Like the penalties, the turnovers, the unforced errors in games. And this is another classic example of that. The Giants were driving down the field. They had a 10-7 lead. It looked like they were going to go into score, a field goal, a touchdown, what have you. They were really cutting into this Crocodiles defense, and then you have that miscue. You have that fumble. Again, credit to the Crocodiles. They forced it, obviously, and it just changes the game, just changes momentum of the game, changes the complexion of the game. Seinajoki goes down the field. They score a touchdown. They take back the lead, and then you're chasing that play all game long if you're the Giants. And now you're in a situation where you're down by 2 scores. You absolutely need to get off the field, and it's been tough.
2nd and short now for the Crocodiles, and I think this is where they begin to slow things down a bit, and they may not need to. Blomqvist with room across the 30, and down he goes deep into Giants territory.
Yeah, at the end of the first quarter, I didn't think Blomqvist was much of a threat with the running game, but it seems like the longer this game is going on, Seinajoki's starting to, decipher the right holes here, call up the right plays. They're starting to see weakness in this Giant front four, and it's leading to big plays, and they're working quickly again.
And this is another big run that takes Seinajoki just outside of the 10-yard line. The spot at the 14 where the runner stepped out. Trying to get a look at the ball carrier's number. I think that's number 22, Julius Tumaniemi.
Yeah. And again, this is such a fun team to watch, Joe, the Crocodiles, because here you are, you're up by 13. You're expecting them to essentially deflate the football. And instead, they're working quickly at the line of scrimmage. They're not giving us time to run replays, and they're mixing it up. They got Tumaniemi now in the game. That was a negative play, but still, I mean, they beat you in so many ways, and they keep you so off balance in games.
And I think, it's always hard to single out a single player as player of the game. I think, fortunately for us, in this game, we wouldn't need to. I think the Seinajoki offensive line in this game, keeping pressure away from Fowler and opening up the running lanes we've seen in the second half.
Yep.
The MVP unit of the game.
Yeah.
As Tumaniemi had a hole there and was able to stay upright for a couple of extra yards.
And I think at the end of the day, it'll probably be Fowler who takes the MVP, because remember the game plan for Seinajoki. They only had a 3-point lead at halftime, but they came out in the second half, started to run him with the legs a lot more. Now all of a sudden you have to respect him coming out of the backfield. That opens up holes for Blomqvist. Now Tumaniemi's running the football well. And when plays have broken down, Fowler's made the plays.
And Fowler will keep here looking for his second touchdown, but he's brought down this time. And he tried to do the same thing he did on the touchdown run, Dave. Plant that foot and accelerate upfield. This time the Giants were ready.
Now I have it as a 4th and 2. I'm not sure. I think they need to get to the 6 here for a first down. It's just off the screen. But they are going to go for it here on 4th and 2. So Joe, opting to go for the 6 instead of going up by an even 16. So remember the question we had a little bit earlier? I think we're getting an answer here, yeah.
I agree with this, because if you have another block kick, it could get run back for a touchdown.
Yep.
That's the reason I would go for it.
Well, maybe they took a delay of game here, though. No, it's a false start. And this might make the decision easier to go for it here, because now you're backed up. It would be a longer field goal.
Yeah, I think you go for it here regardless. You're up the 2 touchdowns anyway. Of course, if both extra points were converted, you could lose the game, but you'd still have to surrender 2 touchdowns, which would be, I think, a catastrophic breakdown of their defense that we just haven't seen any indication is going to happen.
Yep. These Crocodiles aren't the Spurs, Joe.
Ooh, as a New York Knicks fan, I can appreciate that.
I know you'd like that one.
Yeah. Fowler in the gun. Handles the low snap and rolls left. He has room to run and one man to beat. He has the sideline. He dives, and I believe he has the first down.
Let's see where they spot him because he dove kind of out of bounds on this play, Joe. So you wonder where they're going to give him. Yeah, they're going to give him the 4 that was right by the first down marker.
I'll tell you, Dave, the referee looked to his left to see where the sticks were and then spotted the football. Just saying.
But look at where he launches himself to get to the 3 here. It looks like he launches himself right out of bounds, and you wonder if he got this first down. Let's see.
I think they gave it to him.
Yeah, they gave it to him. They gave him the 3-yard line.
They looked at the sticks and then spotted the ball.
Yeah, they actually moved the ball up 1 yard from the sideline to now the near hash mark. So it'll be a first and goal.
Giant as well.
Yeah, so at the end of all this, we're going to have a first and goal for the Crocodiles. And again, the clock, once the whistle starts, the clock will be back up and starting. The Giants are not using their timeouts here. And they really shouldn't at this point. They need 2 scores. They need to save them for the end of the game. You know, try to get a hold here, a touchdown, an onside kick, and that'll be it. But
touchdown clinches this game. If you're the Crocodiles,
I
don't think there's any situation where they kick a field goal. So I would presume that you probably, if you were to stop the Crocodiles, I would say they run it twice. So to stop them, the clock would run on 2 separate downs. And then I think they might throw for it on 3rd down. So the best you can hope for is getting the ball back with about, let's say, 2 minutes fewer than is on the clock right now. That's the best you could hope for.
Yeah, absolutely. Just not enough time to even get the ball back, 3 times, 2 times, let alone 3.
We have not reached the 2-minute warning, according to any signals coming from field level. Heavy formation here for the Crocodiles. 20. Still in the gun.
All 11 in the box.
Bunch to the left. Low snap. Fake toss. And they're going to try and throw it. Fowler moving to his right. Still trying to buy some time. Scrambles back left. He throws. Just a bit wide. He was looking for Peltacongas, and he was open. But 2 flags came out late in that play.
Well, this is what I was talking about before with Fowler just being able to extend plays. And, you see what the intentions are. The bad snap really is what capsized this play, yeah. I don't agree with that if that was the call right there.
Did you see it in the middle of the screen there?
Maybe, but it looked like more of a block from the side.
Yeah.
And it's a personal foul.
Yeah, you're going to see it once Fowler reverses field back left in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, I'll run it again.
Well, it's really hard to tell if that was a great job of selling the impact of that block or if it really caught the defensive player off guard. And it seems like it certainly did catch him off guard because the defensive player is still laying flat on the turf. So.
And I think it's not a block in the back, but a hit on a defenseless player is what the call was, Joe, based on the signal. I had to translate that signal that was just made.
Okay.
And it was a hit on a defenseless player. And that speaks to, again, player safety in the Maple League is paramount. So that, they enforce it. They say it in the pregame, paperwork that they send out to teams. Anything that's close will be called in the interest of player safety. And that's one where you figure the defensive player is in a very vulnerable position, and a simple shove would have taken him down. Instead, he got.
I thought it was a shove.
That's I think looking at it in real time, I didn't agree with the call, but I think that's what the call was. A defenseless player, the hit on him backs him up 15 yards.
If you're calling it a block in the back, I could see it, or a blindside block of some kind, because you could make the case that maybe it was that. Though, like you said, Dave, it seemed like the offensive player was on the hip of the defensive player, but the defensive player certainly was not in any position to protect themselves. So if you're calling it a hit on a defenseless player, I could see that, though I think the equivalent of it in the NFL game, if they were going to make that call, would have been an illegal blindside block.
Yeah.
Either way, it backs the Crocodiles up to nearly the 20. And Fowler is looking to throw again. And he will take off with it, wants to stay in bounds, and wisely he slides down at the 15.
Yeah, gain of 3 on the play. But, yeah, I don't know if that was a ball that Fowler had any intention of putting up. Tried to sell the throw, but I think he really wanted the defensive player to bite down on the fake and then maybe take off with it. But in any event, 2-yard gain. It's going to be second and goal from the 16. So they didn't lose that down on that play. So it's second down and goal.
Yeah, I think he wanted to throw that if it was a freebie. If not, just get down and keep the clock running. Fowler in the gun once again. Throws short to the right. Complete for maybe a yard.
Yeah, it's a nice open field tackle by Halama on that play to make the play there. Otherwise, if the receiver is able to turn the corner there, he could roll in for a score or at least get inside the 5 there. So that's a nice open field tackle for the Giants. Again, you play through the whistle, you play till the very end. But, yeah, there's all but green ahead if he's able to get past Halama, and Halama does a nice job.
Third down. Goal to go for the Crocodiles, and we have to be closing in on the 2-minute warning here. Fowler will throw, end zone through the hands of Rantakami. He was open, had a step on the DB. It was not bad coverage, but there was enough room and a size advantage to get that ball completed.
Yeah, I was going to say he was open, but the coverage was good, or at least as good as you can hope for here in this area of the field. Fowler does place it in the best spot, but that is a good defensive play that time by the defensive back, number 36, Ameli Hassanin. And on 4th and 10, they are going to 4th and goal, they are going to go for it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Neither am I.
And they're going to throw for it. Fowler looking right, and again, that one through the hands with a late flag. That is a tough call.
Yikes.
If it goes against the Giants.
Especially when you think back, Joe, to that Fowler extension on the previous 4th down where they gave him a great spot. Now you have a situation where I think the coverage is good here. We're going to see it slow down a little bit of an extra amount.
We'd have to slow it down to see if he was there early.
It is pass interference on the defense. No, I don't think that's right. You have the arm bar in the back, but to me, Hassanin makes a good play there.
That was another perfect ball. I'm about to see the replay. I'm on maybe 7 or 10 second delay. Here comes the replay for me. So let's get a look at it on my monitor.
I slowed it down a couple of extra times, too. No, that is not pass interference.
I think they're saying that when he came down with the right arm, he reached the arm of the receiver before the ball arrived. I don't like it either, as Blomqvist takes the handoff and is brought down.
Yeah, I mean, we see that in the NFL all the time too, Joe, and sometimes it gets called and sometimes yeah, I don't think so. Sometimes it gets called, sometimes it doesn't, because that arm is on the back of the receiver as you're using it for leverage to get across the body. But I just don't like it. I think that's good coverage. I don't know what else the defensive player is supposed to do in a position like that other than that type of coverage. And, I especially on a 4th and goal, that's one I'm keeping in my pocket.
I just don't think he hindered the receiver's ability to catch the ball with that hand placement. I was looking at the right arm that came down across the arms of the receiver as what they may have called, as Blomqvist will coast in for the touchdown, and that should put this one away for the Crocodiles as they go in front 32-13 in the closing minutes of this Week 2 matchup.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That play took that drive took all the air out of the football. There is a flag down here.
Yeah.
Hold everything. Might have been after the play. I didn't see those flags down at that area of the field while Blomqvist was running, but let's see what the actual call is. We might have to take these 6 points off the board.
I think they're taking down numbers for personal fouls, but I could be mistaken. And for a game that really was flying in terms of how quickly the clock was ticking down and how efficiently these offenses were moving the ball, we've come to a screeching halt here. And
holding.
It is a hold on the Crocodiles, so take those points off the board. To be fair, that is as much running room as any back has had in this game. Meanwhile, they had an unsportsmanlike conduct call and an automatic first down. So holding negates the touchdown, and the unsportsmanlike conduct may have overridden the hold in terms of down and distance to give the Crocodiles another first down.
Yeah. Joe, I just did the computations in my head, and the Crocodiles right now, this is going to be the 11th play they are running inside the 10-yard line, or since they had like that 1st and 10 situation from the 16. So 11-play drive just from the time that they got in the red zone with all the automatic first downs, the pass interference, Fowler diving and getting that good spot.
That begs the question, how is there any time left in this game?
Right.
As Fowler keeps off the fake handoff and will walk in for his second rushing touchdown.
And he does the chicken dance in the end zone. You don't see that? That's a throwback to the 80s.
Yeah, I can't recall the last time I've seen that, especially on a football field. Seinajoki will get those 6 points back, and they are in front 32-13. And I've said it many times already, Dave, the Giants got off to a great start in this game, and beginning with that fumble, this game completely turned around, and it seems like the halftime adjustments by the Crocodiles made a big difference as well. I think the big difference that we saw from them on the offensive side, as you mentioned, look to keep the ball on the ground a bit more, take it out of the hands of Fowler, who had some big completions throughout this game. But once they incorporated his legs into the offensive game plan a bit more during half number 2, it seems like the Giants had no answer.
No, they didn't. And Seinajoki's been completely in control in this half. The Giants had that good drive that they got a field goal on at the very least. But you're right, Joe. This was a 10-7 game with the Giants driving. And looks like the Crocodiles were on their backs a little bit. You get that turnover, the first of 2, and in this game by the Giants. And it's been 26-3 since that moment of the game. And, anytime you have a score like that, granted, 14 of those points have been in the fourth quarter to really put the capper on this one. Otherwise, this was a really good, well-contested game. I think the Giants continue to lay some tracks here on the road to maybe contending for a playoff spot later in the season. But the Crocodiles are going to be 2 up and 2 in the win column. And Joe, they going to 2-0, they're going to be the only 2-0 team. Because remember, the Butchers are on a bye this week. So they're idle. They'll stay at 1-0. The Giants will fall to 1-1, and we'll have to take a look at the rest of the Maple League as we go here. But
I was about to say, how about that scoring update from the Royals
we're gonna have
Roosters?
To find it here, and I'll do my best to do that.
All right, as you get to that, we will let you know that we're not done here on PDF today, as the Giants receive this kickoff at about the 25, and we'll bring it across the 30. But later tonight, 6 p.m. kickoff. It is a rematch of the 2025 AAL2 championship game, now a part of the AAL. The Jersey Bearcats take on the Mississippi Wolfpack. That game kicks off tonight at 6 p.m. Pre-game coverage at 5:30, right back here on the PDF Sports Network YouTube channel. I have that call alongside Nicholas Bavona from the Waranenko Sports Center. Be sure to check that out later this evening. Also, a programming note for our fans of the Maple League. Our next game of the week will be in 2 weeks' time. The league will be off next weekend, as this throw will not come from Kahari Lane. He is sacked inside of the 30, and I said it during the last East City drive. This Seinajoki defense had to be licking their chops, knowing that they would have a chance to pad the stats a bit. The Giants needing to throw the football, and this Crocodiles pass rush has been phenomenal in this game.
It sure has, and they're putting the finishing touches here on this one. And, Joe, I got those scores for you. The Royals, 1-0, beating the Roosters 15-6 in their game, their home opener of the season. The Roosters fall to 0-2 to start the season. The Royals go to 1-0. The Royals had a 13-0 lead at halftime. They added a safety in the third quarter to go up 15-0, and the Roosters' comeback was too little too late. They scored a touchdown in the fourth, 15-6 the final in that game. And, Joe, they're approaching halftime in Kuopio. The Steelers are up on the Saints 14-0 early in that game still in the first half. But the Roosters falling to 0-2, that's got to be one of the big stories in the Maple League through the mid-summer break, or mid-spring break they call.
Well, I asked you during the pregame whether or not we would foresee any surprises this week. Does that qualify as a surprise with how much trouble the Royals have given the Roosters in the past?
Maybe, maybe not. They've had the Roosters number, but the Roosters were selected to finish third overall in the Maple League this year, right behind the Steelers and the Butchers. Remember, the Crocodiles were selected fourth overall. So we have that pass go errant.
Yeah, Dave, I find it hard to believe that we're looking at the fourth best team in the league here in the second half.
So do I. With the dynamism that they have on offense and Fowler coming into his own and the defense stiffening up the way it was and the way it has, and that front four and the pressure that they put on, they're 2 for 2 for a reason. They've looked awful good. That being said, listen, they only beat the Roosters by a touchdown last week, and the Royals just beat them by 9. So where do the Royals stack up in all of this, too? So there's still a lot to kind of iron out here in these first few weeks of the season.
Giants will go 3 and out here and will punt. I mentioned that our next broadcast of the Maple League will be in 2 weeks' time. Where are we headed for our next game?
Yeah, I just put the graphic up as you were saying it, Joe. Next week, we have the latest game. It will be the 0-2 Roosters taking on the Steelers. The Steelers are hoping to win that game against the Saints on their home field. They'll stay at home in 2 weeks. We're going to have that game on Saturday, June 27th at 7:30 p.m. So that'll be a night game for us here during prime time. Next week on Thursday, 2 weeks on Thursday, the Butchers will be at the Giants. So 2 teams that we've already seen. The Butchers will go on the road to face the Giants on Thursday. Friday's game is the now undefeated Royals at 1-0 traveling to take on the Saints. So the Royals will look to go to 2-0 in 2 weeks.
I really like that slate looking ahead in 2 weeks' time. I think we could have some close games on our hands. And, of course, our big game coming up to wrap up the week on Saturday between the Roosters and the Steelers. It will be our first look at both of those teams this year.
Yeah, and in that game, Joe, and I'm sure we'll talk it to death in 2 weeks, as that might be the end of the game. No, that's the 2-minute warning, Joe, 2-minute warning. Is that if the Roosters drop that game in 2 weeks to the Steelers, at 0-3, Joe, how hard is it going to be for them to rebound and get themselves back into playoff contention with only a 10-game season? Remember, last year the final playoff team finished with a 6-4 record. So you don't get a lot of, you'd have to finish 6-1 from there just to finish 6-4 with a chance to go to the playoffs. That's a huge game for the Roosters in 2 weeks.
And looking at the Roosters last year, they did what we mentioned the Crocodiles were able to avoid so well. They had a couple of losses where you were just kind of baffled. Like, how did that game get away from them? And then they had a couple of games, including a game against the Butchers, that they were very much in late. And then a critical turnover late in game ultimately cost them a chance to win some of those close games against quality opponents.
Yeah, Joe, and don't forget, they lost that game to the Butchers during the regular season by 2 points. But remember, they also beat the Steelers last year. They beat them 13-9 early in the season. I think it was actually week 3 last season that they beat the Steelers. It was a home game for them last year. This year, they're going on the road to face the Steelers. But, they were a hard team to figure out. Now, they did have some injuries towards the end of the season. They went into that playoff game really depleted against the Butchers in the playoffs. So they were struck with some injuries, but Ambro or Janssen is one of the only returning quarterbacks this year, year to year for the Roosters. He is still their starter, and it's going to be interesting to see how they match up against the Steelers 1 year later.
Definitely looking forward to that game. I'm actually going to pull up the Roosters schedule from last year as well, start to finish.
Yeah.
And I thought we had some early movement. We sure did. But they opened their season 3-1 last year. They had that week 1 win over the Crocodiles where the Seinajoki offense just couldn't get going in that game. Then they dropped a game in week 2 to the Royals, 9-7.
Right.
Later in the season, they took on the Royals again and beat them 48-0.
Right, we covered that game. Yeah, we thought it was going to be a razor-tight one. It was not.
That game was a head-scratcher.
Yeah.
And then to end the regular season, they lost to the Saints.
Right.
a team that was very much in danger of relegation.
Yeah, and they lost to Seinajoki too the second time they faced them. So those two teams met twice, and they ended up splitting the series.
I mean, you look at what they did from week 3 through week 8. They were arguably the hottest team in the league outside of the Butchers. They won the game against the Steelers that you mentioned, then 59-0 over the Saints, that 2-point loss to the Butchers. To be fair, they did score a touchdown with 4 seconds left in that game, so it wasn't as close as that final score would indicate. Right. But then they put up 56, 48, and 45 in 3 straight games against the Wolverines, Royals, and Giants. Then they followed that up with a loss to the Crocodiles. You think, okay, Maple Bowl rematch, another playoff caliber team. I don't think you're too upset about that loss. And then in their final game of the regular season, they lost to the Saints.
Yeah. No, it was a head-scratcher for sure. And that's what you mentioned in the opening as we go victory formation here for Seinajoki.
Yeah, they limped into the playoffs, and you could argue they might be limping into this matchup with the Steelers coming up in 2 weeks' time as they begin their season 0-2. But for the Crocodiles, with, I would suspect, one more kneel down, they will improve to 2-0. The East City Giants will fall to 1-1. And I think if you're the Giants, you look at what you did in the first half of this game, you have to be pleased up until that fumble. If you're the Crocodiles, you really were unstoppable for much of this game beyond, I would say, the midway point of the second quarter. I don't think there's much you could nitpick about what they did after that last drive of the first half. They were phenomenal the rest of the way, and the scoreboard reflects that.
Yeah, for me, Joe, this was a really fun game because I think I saw a lot from both teams. Like, both teams showed me a lot today, enough so that they can be very intriguing down the stretch. But you're right, Seinajoki basically took control, and it seemed like the more and more comfortable they got in this game, the more and more dominant they got in this game. They kind of did some stuff at will, but it wasn't like taking candy from a baby. The Giants were playing hard, except Seinajoki just proved too overwhelming. They're a good team, this Seinajoki team. This is a team that's been to 4 straight Maple Bowl championships. They haven't been able to claim a title in many, many years, but if you're an early, if you have an early favorite, I think you're looking at it along with the Butchers. They are playing really well, 2 for 2. They get this one at home, last week on the road to start against the Roosters, and now you get a nice week off, a nice week of rest. You'll get another one in 2 weeks because they're the team that'll be idle in 2 weeks. So you get a nice long break to enjoy this 2-0 start, and they can start looking at, solidifying the playoffs, in further weeks and getting to watch what a lot of other teams do from here on out.
I think a huge part of the reason to be optimistic about this Seinajoki team is that not only have they played so well to begin the season, but they've done it despite a great deal of roster turnover, as you mentioned. And, of course, this Giants team, led by a new quarterback in Kahari Lane, showed us a lot in the first half of this game before things ultimately got away from them. You have to think their trajectory is very much up as well moving forward in this Maple League season. But until 2 weeks from now, this has been Joe Foreman alongside David Pizzuto for the PDF Sports Network. It is a big win for the Crocodiles to wrap up our Week 2 coverage. Seinajoki knocks off East City by a final score of 33-13. Once again, we are back in 2 weeks' time. The Roosters and the Steelers, our game of the week in Maple League Week 3 here on the PDF Sports Network. Be sure to tune in for that broadcast in about 2 weeks. Until then, thank you everyone for watching and enjoy the rest of your Saturday.